Hi everyone. I was muted when we first started recording, and now I'm not muted, so we had to start over. Thankfully, we only read like 3 things, so.
Yeah, we read like 4 lines. It's fine, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Uh,
To recap what you missed, because we did like the whole intro, TLDR said in the last episode that we're gonna put content warnings in the description. Didn't happen. Completely forgot. Before I realized that we're gonna see this ahead of all of y'all, so the second that fuck shit happens, we can put it in the description then.
it'll be fine, yeah.
Uh, Other than
It-
that, Spoonie, model.
Yay! I'm gonna get a new model by the end of June. Yippee! So happy Pride. Look for new model. I'm also getting 3 new animated emotes. I don't know when those are gonna happen, probably within like 3 weeks or so. So I'm excited. New things coming. Anyway.
Hey there. How are you guys doing in the heat? Oh, Mio-san, we're doing good. Is that a refreshment? Thanks a bunch. You're such a great manager. I just felt like coming here. I didn't bring this for you, by the way. And don't treat me as your manager without my permission, please.
We'd be a stronger team if you were our manager, Mion. Why don't you apply? As manager, I mean. Satoshi-kun smiled at me in a carefree manner. I didn't want to become their manager. It'd be tiresome. Been coming every week, though, so I'm a quasi-manager already.
Well, if I feel like it. Also, was that your phone that vibrated? Just in case it's like on the table.
Yep. Is that an issue? Is it loud?
I just don't want it to buzz in your like. It wasn't loud for me, but it might be loud in the mic. I don't know.
It's fine. It's far away. Like, I'll put it in my lap. It's okay.
Sure.
Wow.
Anyways, how's Satoshi-kun doing, Coach? Is his batting average improving? Yeah, he's doing fine. His batting average is, well, if you buy 3 packs of rice crackers, it's 7, smart. Does that mean it's 30%? Wow. You're doing great, Satoshi-kun.
I'm paranoid once again. Give me 1 second. Ah, yes. I keep thinking of Paranoid Parrot lately. I'm just like, God. It's an old meme, where it was shit like, starts shit-talking someone, checks phone to make sure you didn't butt dial them. That shit. That's me right now. Okay. It's not just about the number, Mion. I have to be able to hit the ball when it really counts.
It's good that you're aware of your weakness, Satoshi-kun. You just continue working on them for now.
Irie signaled to the pitcher, who then threw the ball. Satoshi-kun looked calm, following the ball with his eyes. Then he swung! Thwack! The ball flew between the first and second bases and landed in the distance.
Wow, that's great! Good job, Satoshi-kun!
I clapped, and Satoshi-kun blushed in response. He repositioned his helmet to hide his face.
Well, he's good at practice when the game is slow.
That's so rude. Irie smiled compassionately. It seemed that Satoshi-kun really couldn't perform well when it counted. While he was usually good, when everybody expected him to perform, he couldn't. I didn't think it was because of his nervousness. He just couldn't do it. I think it's a perfect fit for Satoshi-kun's character. He seems calm at first glance, but he's actually slow.
Numerically speaking, you're a great player, but you need to be able to hit the ball even when things get serious. That's why you were an easy out in the match with the Ukita Jaguars the other day.
Shut up, I know that.
If he'd been able to hit the ball then, he would have been a hero. What a shame.
I'm drinking my coffee! A hit could have put the offense into the lead, or at least given them an extension. That was when Satoshi-kun came up to bat. Irie wanted him to live up to everybody's expectations, but statistically, that wasn't likely to happen. Yet Irie insisted on giving him a chance, in spite of the fact that all the team members had suggested a pinch hitter.
Ah! It would have been perfect if you could have hit it! Why didn't you? Why can't you hit the ball in a situation when it really matters?
That's mean. There is nothing I could do. I know I'm weak in a situation like that. I thought a pinch hitter was a better idea too. I feel like this is foreshadowing. Why can't you hit when it really matters?
It's not about the match, it's about you, Satoshi-kun. You need to be more aggressive. Shouldn't you have thought the opposite way? Shouldn't you have insisted that you'd come up to bat no matter what everyone else said? I can't believe you wanted to give away the chance to some pinch hitter. Why are you so weak like that? That's what I'm always telling him. I know that's one of his good points too, but you can be a gentleman at other times, but when playing games, you should be a demon. I think all men should have those two sides to them. You need to let your demon out, Satoshi-kun. You're native to Hinamizawa, so never forget that you have the demon's blood running through your veins. Are you listening? Satoshi-kun?
I am. I'm not sure, but...
What aren't you sure about? We're talking about you. So? Whoa.
Aw. Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head. He looked delighted for some reason. A blush immediately spread across my face. I didn't know how to respond. You're giving me advice, right? Thanks. I'll do my best.
Hey, don't you try to fool me?
I'm not. I'm just happy that you care about me. I couldn't resist his hand. I couldn't help mumbling like he does. Satoshi-kun ran back to the field, leaving me red as a beet.
Do you feel good when you have your head stroked?
I don't like that coming from you. I'm bracing for impact.
Depends. If it were you, I'd have to teach you a new martial arts technique.
Get his ass, Shion. Get his ass.
What a shame.
Oh, brace for impact.
All right, everyone, gather around. Why don't you split into groups and have a practice match?
Freak. The Hinamizawa fighters are sort of a lazy team. The members gather simply to enjoy playing baseball, not to fight for victory. The Okinomiya Titans use this field too, but they practice on a different day of the week. They always train hard using dumbbells and stuff. Our team split into two groups and started a match, retaining their loose atmosphere.
I'll keep track of the score. Coach, do you have a pencil? Thanks for helping out. Here.
I took the pencil and the clipboard. I didn't know how to differentiate between recording hits and errors at first, but by now I was used to it.
Show me what you got, Satoshi-kun. Oh, maybe it'll be too much pressure if I cheer for you too excessively. Just do okay then.
It's cute. That doesn't sound very encouraging either.
Do your best.
Time passed slowly that Sunday. It's Sunday today!
Sunday right now.
Whoa! Huge white clouds appeared in the sky. They made me feel healthy. You know, in Renpai, you can actually have the game, like, check what day it is based on your computer's internal clock.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't Renpai, but there's a lot of, like, coding you can do. I did that in my game, one of my games. It just checks what day it is. And I don't think anybody noticed. Ezra's like, every day, like this specific day, we have meditation, and it's the day of the week, based on your computer's internal clock.
That's really cute. That's really cute.
It made me feel healthy. Humans are born to be active under the sun. It's true. It's real.
It's true.
One of the parents was acting as umpire today, so Irie sat on the bench with me. He shouted words of encouragement to the kids while they ran to their positions. Any other baseball coach would constantly berate them, but he was much more generous, like a kindergarten teacher. He let the kids have fun while watching over them. I wouldn't let that man within 10 feet of a kindergarten. To other baseball players, it might look a little naive.
I'm surprised you guys can do well with only a small amount of practice. Kids in Hinamizawa romp around every day, so the amount of exercise they get surpasses that of the city kids. Besides, too much training is not always effective. Wow, you think completely differently from the Okinomiya Titans. I can understand why their coach hates you. It's not about being right. Matches exist for someone to win, after all. So prioritizing victory certainly isn't wrong. I think it's admirable to aim for victory together. But the goal of our team doesn't happen to be victory, that's all.
The Hinamizawa... I always say Hinamizawa differently. Hinamizawa Fighters and the Okinonomiya Titans had been rivals for a long time. Both teams shared the same baseball field for one thing. And originally, there was only one team, but the people living in Hinamizawa left and made their own. Anyhow, we were rivals. The Okinonomiya Titans were strictly about winning, and the Hinamizawa Fighters were just about having fun. Surprisingly, our scores weren't that different, which meant our team had something they didn't. The music faded out. I'm nervous. Oh no, never mind. It's just looping. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I knew what made that happen.
Hey, Team 1, no slacking. You can make up the 2-point difference pretty easily. Team 2, no slacking either.
Still, some parents would criticize our coach for being too lenient, but still, others would strongly agree with him. Which side would I take? The latter? I couldn't really say for sure. The reason for this was that Irie had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. Yeah, obnoxious is the word for that. In particular, he had a fascination with maids. I should talk about that some other time. No, you should never talk about it. No, I mean, you should talk about it. You should report it to the police. You should talk about it to a
trusted adult.
Satoshi-kun let the ball pass twice to see its trajectory, then hit it on the third pitch and ran to first base.
Oh, he did it! He's so good when he's relaxed. In the beginning, he used to get tired very easily. He's improved quite a lot since then. He really does look like kind of a bookworm. I wonder why he started playing baseball in the first place.
All the other kids who joined the baseball team loved baseball. They'd go out to play in the fields outside of practice. That's why they all had an aptitude for it. But Sis never said that Satoshi-kun exercises intensely in school or anywhere else. He only likes to read. That's why I didn't understand why he started playing for this team to begin with. He wanted a bat.
That's because I invited him.
Okay.
Is that so? You recruited him? Did you notice some sort of hidden talent? Excuse me, can I have a cup of barley tea? Thank you.
Irie asked for tea in a suspicious manner. While he constantly joked around, I knew he was actually a very mature person. I assumed he was trying to evade my question.
Is there any particular reason?
Irie pretended he didn't hear me, but I pressed him on it. In response, he shrugged and began answering the question.
I think you might be able to guess.
What would be Mion Sonozaki's guess? I quickly searched through the data I had on Satoshi-kun. I came up with Satoshi-kun's family circumstances. He lost his parents in an accident a year ago. Since then, he's been having a tough time at his uncle's home.
So, you invited him so that he could vent, like an Among Us. Sports are great. You can free yourself through exercise. I thought that as long as he concentrated on something else, he could forget about his troubles at home. He's usually sort of a daydreamer, zoning out all the time. Is he still stressed?
I knew Satoshi-kun must be suffering even though he didn't look like it. But Mion Sonozaki never pays attention to things like that, and I had to act like she does.
Satoshi-kun got really sick after his uncle took him into custody. He had many clinical symptoms, but the causes were unknown.
Satoshi-kun often got sick after he was taken into his uncle's custody. He suffered from fatigue and migraines. He suffered from a lack of energy and sleeplessness. I don't think I ever got migraines when I was that young. But I knew I had friends who did, who were in like honors classes in like fucking middle school, who would get migraines and have to get sent home. But like, goddamn.
I started getting migraines when I was about 16, like just after I'd left high school.
Damn. Yeah, I didn't start until, like, well, I didn't actually realize that they were migraines until, like, a year ago. I thought they
Oh.
were, like, sinus headaches. But I
Mm.
read, you don't get sinus headaches unless you have a sinus infection. And
Yeah.
normally, when somebody has a quote-unquote sinus headache and they don't have a sinus infection, that's actually just a migraine. It's a type of migraine. And I was like, oh! Okay. Well, it's a very common misconception. People will be like, I have a sinus headache. And it's like, no, you have a migraine, bitch! He suffered from a lack of energy and sleeplessness. The coach, I mean Dr. Irie, soon realized Satoshi-kun was suffering from a psychological disorder. Most of the people in Hanamizawa knew how bad Satoshi-kun's environment was. It was natural for him to become sick because he entered that bad environment right after his parents' deaths.
Satoshi-kun cannot express himself freely. Whether it's crying or simply being agitated, he's not good at handling those emotions. That's true. I can't imagine him being angry or crying. Did you know Satoshi-kun's mother had been married a few times already? Yeah, I know a little about that.
Satoshi-kun's mother had married a number of men over the years. That meant Satoshi-kun had several stepfathers. He had to deal with strangers coming into his home multiple times, so he was forced to be mature.
Satoshi-kun is mentally underdeveloped. He isn't aware of it himself, though. He didn't have enough time to cry, laugh, and throw tantrums in his childhood. He is forced to become a grown-up in just a short time. That doesn't sound right. Children have to behave like children in order to grow. There's nothing positive about being forced to become an adult.
Not only was Satoko's current relationship with her aunt conspicuously terrible, I heard that her relationships with her previous stepfathers weren't good either. Satoko always caused problems, and Satoshi-kun would always step in to protect her.
I thought his physical symptoms came from stress. His body was trying to warn him.
That's why Irie invited Satoshi-kun onto the baseball team. He told Satoshi that he needed a new member, or something like that.
He hesitated at first, but after I talked to him at the clinic a few times, he began to open up to me. First, I invited him to come see the practice. Then I suggested he try batting. I eased him into it.
Sports worked excellently for Satoshi-kun. His health quickly improved, and he started to become interested in baseball. He practiced batting. He was soon able to swing beautifully, and he learned how to see the trajectory of the ball.
I can imagine that. He likes to read. So he must have read a book titled How to Play Baseball or something like that. He's become a good batter very quickly. He's put forth a lot of effort. Though I wish he could actually hit it when it comes down to the wire, too. Are you guys close? I think so. He talks to me about his problems, so I guess that's a sign of trust.
I keep going for a sip when narration is coming up. I felt a bit jealous of how confidently Irie said that. While Satoshi-kun and I were friends, we weren't so close that we'd open up to each other like that.
Oh, are you jealous?
No, fucker. Shut up.
Eh? About what?
Taken aback, I blushed. Irie started laughing at me.
Please stay as his good friend. Well, yeah, I'm trying.
I didn't know what I was saying.
You know, regarding Satoshi-kun, he seems a little sick again lately. What?
Oh god. The scary music! The scary music! The ball flew to the left. But the left fielder managed to catch it. It seemed that the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had gotten worse lately. It was obvious his sickness had something to do with that.
Their aunt is bullying Satoko-chan in a terrible way. She's become worn out after all that, and... So, Satoshi-kun is also worn out. From covering for Satoko, isn't he?
I wasn't interested in Satoko, so I switched the subject back to Satoshi-kun. I didn't know much about Satoko. I knew that she was a big part of Satoshi-kun's life, but I'd never been interested in her until today. She must have been building up self-esteem and taking care of her unreliable brother. That was all I knew about her. But, considering Satoshi-kun's personality, even that goofiness of his might have been an act. Maybe he was trying to make her feel good about herself by letting her take care of him. Only unconsciously. When he's alone, he's surprisingly strong. I realized that only recently, so I couldn't help but think that his whole life is constantly affected by Satoko. Satoshi-kun managed to get along with his stepfathers even though he experienced some stress. He was even getting along with his aunt, but in order to protect Satoko, he always had to step in and suffer. I didn't really know anything about Satoko, but I had to admit, I felt hostile toward her. I felt jealous because she was monopolizing him.
Are we seeing a pattern in Shion's behavior? In that she wants to isolate the men in her life that she likes?
A bit, yeah.
It seems that their aunt has been tyrannizing Satoko-chan even more lately. That must be what's causing Satoshi-kun's sickness.
Irie heaved a sigh. As he said, Satoshi-kun had been absent a few times lately. He seemed a bit tired, too. He looked normal when around everybody else, but he looked a bit depressed when he was alone.
So you invited him to join the team to relieve his stress, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. But he looks stressed again now. How can we save him this time? I don't know.
Irie smiled powerlessly. I couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed about that, because Satoshi-kun put his trust in him.
Just between you and me, Satoshi-kun recently told me that he wanted to leave the team. Eh? How come? He claimed he was tired of it. That's what he said. But I believe he actually wants to spend more time with Satoko-chan. He thinks that Satoko-chan might end up being tortured while he's at practice. I think he's concerned about that.
I was left speechless for a while. Satoko again. Satoko. Why did Satoshi-kun have to sacrifice so much for her? Just by ignoring her, his stress would melt away. Of course, I knew he couldn't do that. If that were the case, then the blame lay with his little sister. I knew how badly she'd been treated. That only happened because she made things worse for herself. It was her fault that she couldn't establish a decent relationship with their aunt. If Satoko were more mature, like Satoshi-kun, her home life wouldn't have gotten so bad. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer those indirect blows. In the meantime, the baseball team's practice match had become one-sided. It wasn't even worth watching anymore. The members of the losing team were just goofing off. The sky had turned cloudy, too. It was depressing. It didn't look like it'd rain soon, though. The gray sky hadn't brought along any cool air. It just felt disgusting. Irie became quiet. He was looking down around his feet. I, meanwhile, just stared at Satoshi-kun. To me, he didn't look active anymore. He was once able to enjoy playing baseball, and he felt fine. But he got sick again, just because the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had deteriorated. I couldn't help but say it.
Shouldn't we do something about Satoko instead?
It was just a murmur, but Irie had definitely caught it.
What do you mean, Sonozaki-san? It's not that complicated. If Satoko was stronger, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to deal with stress. I think Satoko's the cause of everything.
Irie's gonna fucking kill her. He is, like, in love with Satoko.
I don't know about that. Yes, you do. If she didn't cause any trouble, he wouldn't have to step in, would he? He wouldn't have to take over in the fight between Satoko and her aunt, right?
Satoshi-kun never got scared of any trouble. No matter how formidable the enemy, he'd bravely stand up to protect the weak. I knew that because I could vividly imagine it. I knew that because it was in my head. It's real!
Love you, Shion.
Whenever their aunt chides Satoko, Satoshi-kun steps in to protect her. The aunt probably didn't like it. Though Satoshi-kun didn't have to fight, the aunt would attack him anyway. The fight would then be between the aunt and him. Satoko might then tease the aunt by sticking out her tongue, hiding behind his back, and pretending to be scared. She'd never think about how deeply he was being hurt. Because of Satoko, Satoshi-kun had become cornered and stressed.
This is a lot to say, considering you don't even know what Satoko looks like.
Don't even know her, bitch.
I'm surprised to hear this from you, Sonozaki-san. I thought you were Satoko-chan's friend, her classmate. A big sister kind of figure. I thought you'd always be on her side. But what you've said is surprising to me.
Irie looked at me suspiciously. I could tell what he was thinking about me. I'd said too much. Mion Sonozaki and Satoko Hojo are friends. They're close, so Mion should have been encouraging her. After the situation at home got tougher, that's what Mion was supposed to do. I had totally forgotten about that and spoken as myself. It's only natural that Irie would give me a suspicious look. He might end up changing his impression of Mion Sonozaki entirely. I'd have to apologize to her about this and ask her to put things right. I totally messed up. Even so, I didn't think I'd said anything wrong. I'd objectively looked at the situation and made a modest proposal. To be honest, I was simply afraid that he might leave the team. I couldn't go to school in Hanamizawa, so the baseball field was the only place where I could see him. I could even say that he was my reason for living. A little overdramatic there. That's right. I was in love with him. But I wasn't going to tell him how I felt, for I was satisfied just being by his side. I certainly couldn't ask for anything more. After all, I couldn't reveal my true identity. I had to pretend to be Mion in order to live in Okinomiya. I thought that maybe I should leave Okinomiya in order to be free. But that's stupid! No matter how tough my life might be, I'd prefer to be here, with Satoshi-kun stroking my head every now and then. Why did I love him that much? I've read about it in some manga once. You don't need a reason to be in love. I was surprised at myself for being like this.
Calm down, Shion.
I breathed out slowly, then held my breath, trying to slow my throbbing heart. Felt a bit calmer. At that point, a clear thought came into my head. I want to be with Satoshi-kun. So, I want him to stay on the team. So, I want to get rid of his concerns and his stress. So what? So, what can I do to achieve all that? My head started to cool down as I heard the umpire shout,
Game, set, and match!
Wow.
Normal neurotypical thoughts to have about a child you've never met.
Yeah. Shion. Crazy. You're crazy.
Some days I see him, some days I don't. A clear sky gets cloudy, and rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of breakdown.
The rainy season was just around the corner, and the air had become so humid that my shirt stuck to my skin. It had been a few weeks since Satoshi-kun stopped showing up for baseball practice. I looked for him as soon as I arrived at the field. He's not here yet. Did I get here too early? I wanted to see him playing in the field right when I get here. I had started arriving late because of those feelings. However, he wasn't here today either. I didn't even bother hiding my disappointment anymore. Everybody knew by now how I felt. The team members from Mion's class came over to try and console me, but I shooed them away.
What's going on, Sonozaki-san? Are you feeling sick?
Even Irie couldn't comfort me. I was aware that he, too, knew why I was like this.
I'm going home. I don't feel like watching the practice today. Look, we're having a meeting with the Okinomiya Titans later. I wanted you to be there because you're our manager. Don't treat me like a manager. I never agreed to be one.
EDA looked down, not knowing what to say.
Alright. Please help us again when you feel like it. Maybe I won't be coming back. If you really need a manager, look for somebody else. Please do come again, whenever you feel like it. Satoshi-kun will be sad if you're not here when he comes back.
I ignored him and turned around. I had already set up my schedule with Mion, so I didn't have to ask her every time anymore. I tried to contact her a couple of times to ask how Satoshi-kun was doing in school, but I hadn't been able to get through to her. Apparently, the hag had sensed that I might be in contact with Sis. In other words, Sis was being watched. As a result, it hasn't been easy to contact her. Kasai, who had been helping me contact her, seemed to also have been marked. People knew he was loyal to me. I hadn't seen him for a while either. All I could do was wonder how Satoshi-kun was doing. I was frustrated because there was no way for me to know. My head was filled with worries. Something surprised me out of the blue. Somebody called out to me when I was about to leave the field on my bike. Rena!
Michan, hello!
I'd never seen this girl before! Luckily, she called me Michan. There's only one person who refers to Mion that way, as far as I know.
Rena. I'm surprised to see you here.
Her name is Reina Ryugu. Her real name is Reina, but she wants to be called Rena. So, that's what we call her. She moved here in April. I had some information on her, but it was all ambiguous. Sis was still a bit uncertain about her, since she's so new. It was hard for me to handle someone like that. I didn't know how to act around her as Mion, so I decided to pretend to be in an obvious sulky mood. That way, she wouldn't talk to me as much, assuming that Mion was simply feeling bad. Well, that's how I really am anyway.
Are you going home, Michan? Yeah. I guess I'm not feeling well. Sorry. Let's go together then.
I wanted to say that I'd rather be alone, but there's only one road to Hinamizawa, so asking to be alone would look odd. The only way to not seem suspicious would be to walk home with her.
Yeah, let's go.
Rena quietly nodded. I unlocked my bike.
Michan, do you have an umbrella? Nope. It might rain soon. So let's hurry a bit since you don't have one.
As she predicted, we were attacked by pouring rain on our way. We ended up taking shelter in a small shack in front of a bus stop.
It's pouring, but it doesn't look like it's gonna last long since the sky over there is clear. Yeah.
I heard the sound of rain pattering on the rooftop and the raindrops jumping into puddles. It sounded loud, but it made me feel strangely calm. Basu! I think I did that last time too. I zoned out for a moment. Then Rena talked to me while looking up at the rainy sky.
I was worried about you, because you looked so down.
All the baseball team members knew I was depressed because I hadn't seen Satoshi-kun recently. Most of them attend the school in Hinamizawa, so it wasn't surprising that she knew as well. I hadn't been able to contact Sis these past few weeks, but I was sure she had an idea of how I feel about Satoshi-kun and how I would feel if he didn't come to his baseball practice. Sis was probably pretending to act a little depressed during her day-to-day in Hinamizawa to avoid creating a big gap between our moods. But neither of us knew the details about the other right now, so she wouldn't be able to answer if others asked her what was wrong. She'd only be able to say, "Leave me alone." That might lead more people to become worried. Rena must have thought Mion was depressed. That must be why she came all the way to see me. She must have known what was going on because she knew that I was at the baseball field.
Do you feel lonely because Satoshi-kun is avoiding us?
Having deduced what had been going on with Satoshi-kun from what she just said, he'd been distancing himself from others lately because of exhaustion. That's what it sounded like, at least.
He looked like he was very worried about Satoko-chan. I think he's really on edge. I feel bad for him.
He really cares about his sister. He has a lot of courage.
What I'd said sounded hollow, as I knew too well how much of a burden Satoko had become.
But I think you'd feel even worse if you also looked that depressed. I think. I don't want that. I know. But if you really don't, then you need to smile for him. Otherwise, he might feel really cornered. I know you're strong. You can smile, even if it's just pretend. So I want you to smile, no matter what. You know that lies can become true sometimes.
What she was saying in a nutshell was this. Both Satoshi-kun and Satoko were totally wiped out. If Mion was also depressed, even though she's the sort of person who usually lightens the mood, their situation would be stuck in a vicious cycle. Rena sounded more like she was trying to give me advice than trying to console me. She must be more mature than she looks. Sis told me that she was a funny girl with a few bad habits, but she seemed to have another, very mature side to her.
Do you love Satoshi-kun? Yeah.
Though I shouldn't have told her that, I immediately responded.
In that case, why don't you smile?
Rena smiled herself.
I believe Satoshi-kun will feel better if he sees your smile. I know you feel powerless now, but your smile will give him strength. I know what you're saying, but it's not that easy.
Rena giggled and nodded.
He'll come back after he's done with his part-time job.
His part-time job? I almost asked that question, but I managed to stop myself. From the tone of Rena's voice, it sounded like it was something everyone knew.
His part-time job, huh? I wonder when it'll end. Until he has enough money, I guess. But he'll finish by Satoko-chan's birthday at the latest.
I tried to figure out what was going on from what she said. I had to listen very carefully to uncover the whole picture. Satoshi-kun seemed to be working in order to make some money. I don't think it's easy to find a job when you're still in school. Sis might have had something to do with it. His job only seemed temporary, and it seemed to have something to do with Satoko's birthday. Uh-oh. It wasn't that difficult to figure out. Satoshi was working and saving up to buy his little sister something expensive for her birthday. He was trying to comfort her, even though he was so torn up himself. Satoko again. Satoshi-kun was already worn out because of her. He was now working for her sake, even though he was exhausted. How stupid. It would be easier for him to just forget about Satoko. Oh god. I was startled when I realized Rena was looking straight into my eyes. She was smiling, but her eyes looked creepy. I never voiced what I was thinking, but she was looking at me as though she figured out that I was blaming Satoko. She beamed when she noticed my fear. She smiled as though she understood that I thought that way because of love. She was giving me the creeps. I could hear thunder roar in the distance. The rain began to pick up.
Do you feel jealous of Satoko-chan? Because she monopolizes Satoshi-kun?
I avoided answering immediately this time, but Rena seemed to know what I was thinking already.
I wouldn't be upset even if you did. That's just how it is when you're in love. Thanks. You've been encouraging Satoko-chan despite that. That's admirable. Of course I have. She's my friend.
I sounded so fake. I felt like spitting on the floor. Of course, she's my friend.
All we can do is encourage Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun. I don't know how to save them from their situation. Satoko is relying on Satoshi-kun way too much. If she were stronger, he wouldn't have to suffer in her place. You sound really straightforward.
Rena nodded with an unflinching smile, even though my remarks could be taken as harsh. What was this mysterious girl thinking? It was difficult to get a read on her.
Maybe Satoshi-kun feels that way a little too.
Rena kept smiling, but her smile looked strangely cold.
I think he's tired of protecting Satoko-chan, and he's aware of that.
Given the type of person Rena is, I don't think she'd say something if she wasn't certain of it. Because of that, she must have been confident in what she just told me.
Why do you think that? He said so. What?
Satoshi-kun secretly confessed to her. Rena asked me to keep it that way.
Satoshi-kun told me that he felt tired of protecting Satoko-chan. He was feeling guilty, though.
Didn't I call this? Sort of.
Which part?
That Satoshi ran away because of Satoko?
I think maybe you mentioned something to that effect.
Yeah. Okay, nah. I'm gonna pick that
Also-
thought back up. I'm picking it back
We're
up.
back in the forest temple, by the way.
We are. I don't think he would say something like that. But, however, it wasn't likely that Rena was lying. Saying but and however next to each other like that is very redundant. Why would you do that? I just met her, so I didn't know what made me feel that way. But my hunch told me that she was telling the truth. I heaved a huge sigh. Satoshi-kun must have gotten so tired that he couldn't help telling someone. Even so, even if he thought that way, he wouldn't tell somebody so easily. Maybe Rena led him to do so. She might be capable of something like that. I don't understand. This girl. It had only been a little while since we'd met, but I'd already started talking about something I was keeping deep inside of me. Does she have some kind of supernatural power to reach into people's minds and drag out what they're thinking? Maybe. It suddenly hit me that I was sitting with this creepy girl in a tiny shack. I've been dragged into her strange world. I don't think Sis had realized Rena's real personality. She thinks Rena is just a funny girl with some strange habits.
She's that too.
She would have told me if she knew.
I guess Satoshi-kun must trust you a lot if he confessed that to you. I'm a little jealous. It's not because he trusts me. I think it's because I've experienced the same thing. You what? Did you also have to cover for your siblings once? Those footsteps always followed me.
Sorry, I had to throw my cat across the room.
They even came up to my bedside and looked down at me.
Huh? Sorry, Rena. What are you talking about? I turned around to face her. And got the chills. The eyes. Though she was smiling, her eyes looked ice cold. I trembled and froze, my eyes open.
Have you experienced anything like that? I guess not. Probably.
Rena kept laughing self-derisively. I tried to figure out what she was saying.
Have you ever thought of leaving Hinamizawa and moving to a big city? Have you ever thought of doing something like that?
I didn't know how to respond. Rena waited for my answer, urging me to speak with her silence.
No. I love it here. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? I knew that.
It didn't seem like a good idea to lie to her. Rena has some kind of power I can't grasp. She can read people's minds just by seeing the slightest change in their expressions, so I had to tell her the truth.
You'll be okay, if that's true. Oyashiro-sama won't get mad at you. Oyashiro-sama?
Oyashiro-sama. That's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. I couldn't understand why she mentioned that name. My mind stopped for a moment.
That's right. Oyashiro-sama.
She calmly repeated the name as if trying to teach me something. Yeah, I remember. Oyashiro-sama never allows heathens to desecrate Hinamizawa. Oyashiro-sama never allows the villagers to leave either. Those are the rules. Slowly, I recalled the fear of the curse, which supposedly caused the dismemberment, murder, and the death of the Hojo couple. When I was sent to the institution, I had this fear. I was scared that if I went to that faraway boarding school, I'd fall under the curse. But I should be okay. I escaped from the school and returned to my hometown, to Okinomiya to be precise. But it should be okay according to the kids' rules because I love Hinamizawa. The hag forces me to live this suffocating life, but I still chose to stay in this place. I don't believe I'm breaking Oyashiro-sama's rules. Even though the Sonozaki family had selfishly banished me to a remote place, I came back here anyway. Oyashiro-sama should even bless me for that. I guess I'm trying to convince myself that the curse doesn't apply to me, but I think I'm still afraid of it.
I love this place. So, I don't think I qualify for Oyashiro-sama's curse. You could even call me a model villager. Yeah, I think so too. But I'm not sure about Satoshi-kun.
Leave my son alone!
Why? Satoshi-kun wants to leave Hinamizawa and run far away, even if only unconsciously.
I gave an inaudible cry. While I was feeling sad that Satoshi-kun hadn't shown up for practice, he still lived in Hinamizawa, so I'd never even considered the thought of him going away.
Are you saying that he wants to skip town? Mm-hmm. He's not aware of it himself, though. He probably didn't notice it until Oyashiro-sama stood by his bed.
I still had no idea what she was talking about. I continued trying to figure out what she was saying.
Everything he's going through is a sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. You feel like someone's watching you from a distance, and it follows you. Then it watches from right behind you. After that, you start hearing an extra footstep.
Like the first chapter.
It only happens outside at first, but you start hearing it even inside your house after a while. Then, Oyashiro-sama keeps watching you, even when you're sleeping in the dark, right by your side, waiting silently for you to admit your sin. Satoshi-kun told me he was having nightmares at first, so I asked him what kind of dreams he was having. And those dreams he was having, as it turned out, were just like mine. I warned him that the presence would become bigger. He'd hear an extra footstep and feel the presence watching him in his sleep. I told him to come to me if that ever happened. He must have been suspicious at first, but just as I predicted, he started to feel Oyashiro-sama's presence more strongly. He finally realized he could talk to me about it.
Rena didn't look like she was joking. She just calmly told me what had been going on. I couldn't even move. Oh, I almost dropped my phone. There we go. I couldn't tell if her words were a joke or the truth. I could only feel stunned.
I'm from Hinamizawa originally, but I moved to Ibaraki Prefecture right before I went to elementary school. However, when I couldn't adjust to my new environment, Oyashiro-sama frequently started telling me to return to Hinamizawa in my head. But I couldn't do anything since I was just a little kid. I was forced to live there, though I felt threatened by Oyashiro-sama's voice. Then...
Rena paused. It looked like she didn't want to go into the details of what followed. In general, she confused me even more.
Anyway, I was able to come back here in the end. Oyashiro-sama forgave me. I haven't felt his presence anymore since then. Satoshi-kun is being subjected to the curse even though he's in Hinamizawa. Why? There can only be one reason. It's because he wishes to abandon Hinamizawa. Yoshida-sama won't allow that. After a series of inner monologues, he confessed. You know he's working part-time, don't you? The teddy bear he's getting for Satoko-chan costs about 100,000 yen. And he's trying to get the money by her birthday. Have you noticed it yet?
100,000 yen, that's like $1,000. Bro, that's an expensive teddy bear.
Think about it like this. If he had that amount of money, that'd be enough for him to run away somewhere far from here. He unconsciously started to think about that, about leaving Satoko-chan behind. But he'd feel very guilty. As you pointed out, Satoko-chan is a burden on him. He's not stupid, so he's aware of that. He just doesn't want to admit it, because he's the one who's supposed to protect his little sister. He's been struggling with himself. He thinks he's working to please Satoko-chan on her birthday, but he also feels like he might be deceiving himself because he unconsciously wants to skip town with that money. I don't think he should run away. Even if he did, he'd regret it for the rest of his life. Yoshida-sama knows that. That's why Yoshida-sama is trying to warn him. I hope Satoshi-kun stops thinking of abandoning Satoko-chan. He's working hard to make it to Satoko-chan's birthday, which is a couple of days after the Watanagashi festival. He's pushing himself too hard. He believes it'll end when Satoko-chan's birthday comes. The curse keeps cautioning him while he tries to figure out whether he should leave or continue protecting her.
The torrential rain didn't seem to want to stop. It kept pouring down on the galvanized iron roof, producing a loud noise. Yet in the shack, it felt completely silent. What the hell was Rena talking about? I couldn't grasp even half of what she was saying. The only thing I had figured out is that Satoshi-kun was struggling, confused, and in lots of pain. He's suffering from Oyashiro-sama's curse? And Rena has experienced that before? The Watanagashi festival was right around the corner. Oyashiro-sama's curse had struck 3 years in a row. There was no guarantee that it wouldn't strike a 4th time. Satoshi-kun was subject to Oyashiro-sama's curse even now? Was he going to skip town? Was he going to be the next victim of Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, he might disappear forever. Could I do something to prevent it? If I didn't do anything, it would all come to a hopeless end. End? I started feeling a sense of dread. I didn't buy the crazy story Rena told me. But if something really was happening to Satoshi-kun, which might bring about some kind of an end, I couldn't help feeling scared. It's true, isn't it? My instinct is always correct. I decided to contact Mion despite the danger. Mion got upset at first, but she had to listen to me.
Sis, what's going on with Satoshi-kun?
He looks really stressed out. I can't even talk to him.
What do you mean? You don't know what's going on because you can't talk to him?
Sorry.
Sis, give me another chance to trade spots again.
That's fine. But I'm kind of busy lately attending meetings for the festival. What are you planning to do? Another part-time job?
I'm going to your school.
Oh.
Many hmms.
Some tips! You want to read the tips and then, like, take a quick bathroom break? Possessed.
Yes, I'm gonna get chocolate.
Wow.
What do you think about the story of Oyashiro-sama before we dip into the tips?
Like, in the context of this chapter, or just overall?
What, everything that Rena just told us.
Oh. I was thinking it reminds me a little bit of, Twin Peaks, in a sense. as far as like I've only watched the first season. Um but I was
That
actually
first
thinking
season's really
this.
fucking good.
Yeah. Um Twin Peaks reminded me a lot of Hinamizawa, and I actually kind of was curious if Higurashi was inspired by it because it is also a small town where everybody knows each other. Everybody, like, there's all these, like, weird connections with everything, and I feel like Oyashiro-sama's curse is, like, similar to, like, what the fuck is going on in Twin Peaks, where I feel like people just don't like outsiders, get bottled up and weird about it. And also, um, I feel like Oyashiro-sama could very well be just a mental, like, thing that villagers fear, where Rena could very well be experiencing the guilt of leaving Hinamizawa, or at least that's what she experienced, manifested as a demon that watched over her. And that was all in her head. That was all hallucination. That wasn't real. And that's one theory I have. The other theory is it's an actual demon that doesn't want anybody to leave. But I think it's a little more interesting if you think about it, like just all the villagers like guilting each other about like leaving, and wanting to stay like a tight knit community. So they're like, don't leave, stay here forever. If you try to leave, you will be killed. Yeah. I guess those are my thoughts. I don't really have anything deeper than that.
That's okay.
But
Can we read those tips?
let's read them. We gotta listen to the.
Uh-huh.
We gotta do this every time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Yeah. Hey.
I'm so happy
Hey.
because
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not streaming, so I can freely do my little dance without people doing that emote.
I'm breakdancing.
All right. You want to read this?
Sure. Why don't I relate my encounter with that creepy girl in the rain?
I can read the next one.
Sure. Her name is Rena Ryugu. Her real first name is Reina. I have no idea what kind of girl she really is. One thing is certain. She has no relation to the Sonozaki family. She has no relation to the three families as a whole, either. The Ryugu family used to live in Hinamizawa, but then they moved to Ibaraki. That was before she went to elementary school. They returned to Hinamizawa some years later. Rena Ryugu said she came back because Oyashiro-sama told her to. I don't know what that means. She said it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama, that Oyashiro-sama had stalked her. I think that was probably a hallucination, that Satoshi-kun had been interested in that experience. She said that Satoshi-kun was also experiencing Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun told her that he was being followed by some unknown existence. He was surprised to learn that Rena had experienced the same thing before. What is Oyashiro-sama's curse? Why did Rena and Satoshi-kun have a similar experience? I believe that means somebody put them under surveillance. Somebody must be spying on the next victim of the curse. Since Rena and Satoshi-kun both blindly believed in Oyashiro-sama's curse, they interpreted it as Oyashiro-sama's presence. If paranoia kicked in, they'd feel as if they were experiencing paranormal phenomena. Judging from what Rena said, it seems that Satoshi-kun had been put on surveillance since long before Watanagashi. So, one question comes to mind. Why were they watching Rena? I'm assuming that the surveillance was placed on a victim-to-be that year. If so, I don't understand why Rena went through with it. Why did they watch her, even though she was living so far away? If she was considered somebody who abandoned the village, I could understand. But she didn't fall victim in the end. Maybe she was forgiven because she came back to Hinamizawa. I guess she still knows something I don't.
Satoshi-kun looked terrible. When he went home, he had to mediate a fight between Satoko and their aunt. He became mentally exhausted. He went to work every day. He became physically exhausted. He no longer communicated with his classmates. He's either slept on his desk or was gone somewhere during lunch break. He used to be really gentle. It was painful to see him suffering like that. On top of all that, he was dealing with the curse of Oyashiro-sama. He must have been completely, totally, and absolutely exhausted. That curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun that year. The way that it's using, like, surveillance makes me even more suspicious that this is just the work of people. That means that the other victim was in the same situation. Satoshi-kun's aunt had also been watched. Did she notice any presence? What about the others? Did the victims of the previous incidents also experience it? I need to investigate the facts in order to prove the curse on Satoshi-kun was actually just surveillance. Is it surveillance? Paranoia? Or really the curse? Alright. Let us take a quick break.
Yes, I'm gonna go get some candy.
Yeah, I need to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna pause! And we're back.
Hey, gamers!
Hi, gamers. We're gonna continue gaming. And by gaming, I mean reading.
We love stories.
Love it. No, legit, like, the reason I like games at all is it's just a neat way to tell stories.
For sure, for sure.
And my favorite games are things where, like, there's hardly any actual gameplay involved. I mean, Final Fantasy VII does have gameplay. But most of the reason I like it is the story. I like books and movies and shows. Oh, Chie! Oh my god. President, if you would. For a moment, I forgot that the class president was me.
All rise!
Looks like you didn't get enough sleep. I know it's been very hot at night lately, but try to get as much sleep as you can. Alright, everyone? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure this place can be called a school, because there are so many different age groups. It's like a kindergarten and an elementary school blended together. That's where kindergarten is. It's an elementary school, but I know it's different in Japan. Since I've heard already about what this place was like, I didn't feel that uncomfortable. It wasn't too difficult to act like me on here. Satoshi. Hold on one moment. There we go. There we go. Okay. As Sis told me, Satoshi-kun looked exhausted. I said hi to him, but he ignored me. Since I knew what he'd been going through, his pain looked apparent to me. I was interested in another person in this classroom. Satoko, Satoshi-kun's little sister. She looked as worn out as Satoshi-kun. She looks worse. Emotionless, like an abandoned doll. Everybody in this room was aware of their circumstances, but no one could do anything for them. So they just acted as though nothing was wrong. Mion will only let me have this one day. If I slacked off even a little bit, today would be over with quickly. I just need a little aside. I watched the first season of Severance and the first 2 episodes of the second season, and it's kind of funny and weird how there are parallels between Severance and this, just by the fact that there's like twin sisters who have parallel lives and they don't know what's going on, but they do kind of know what's going on in each other's lives, and they do replace each other. I just need to put it out there. I'm drawing these similarities right now, and it's kind of funny to me. But it's very different in Severance, because it's the same person. They just have a completely different, like, consciousness somewhere else. But anyway, If I slacked off even a little bit, today would be over with quickly. And to figure out what I should do in this limited time. I should probably talk to Satoshi-kun. About what? Anything goes. Cheer him up, sympathize with him, anything will do. More than anything, I just wanted to chat with him. However, Sis had told me. She said Satoshi-kun didn't communicate much with her lately, and had distanced himself from her. Figured I shouldn't talk to him too casually. Wanted to, but maybe it was better to leave him alone. I needed to keep Sis's warning in mind. But instead, I decided to ignore them. I looked for Satoshi-kun during lunch break. He was walking as if looking for a place where he could be alone. I caught him in the hallway.
Satoshi-kun.
He turned around, startled by my voice. His facial expression surprised me. He was scowling, clearly a sign of rejection. But I couldn't hesitate. This is a random aside, but when you were in school, were there like identical twins that you like knew and could tell the difference between very easily, or like?
I've only known one pair of twins in my life.
Yeah,
and that was Benny and Bana in primary school. And the only reason I could tell them apart was because they both wore glasses, but one of them wore purple on her glasses and the other one wore yellow.
That's interesting. See, I knew 2 pairs of identical twins growing up, and it was very interesting because like they were completely identical, both pairs of twins, but like there was a pair of girls I remember. I don't remember their names, but I don't like she was elementary school and middle school. I remember one of them had like a stronger jaw, and that's how I could tell the difference between them. And it was interesting because they were identical twins, but one looked slightly different, so I could tell the difference between them right away. And the other pair of twins was 2 boys, and they looked completely the same, but they had different vibes, and I could tell who was who right off the bat. And it was weird. I can't like that's been my experience with identical twins, at least. So like if this situation had happened to me, I feel like I would be like, wait a minute, you're not so and so. Your vibes are off. It's hard to explain. I couldn't hesitate. I couldn't hesitate. Yeah. I'd lose my only chance if I did.
Hey, how are you?
He gave me a look as if saying, do I look fine to you? I never expected to see an expression like that on his face. Felt like my heart was being torn into pieces. As I looked down, he spoke to me. Felt a little glad, but the next thing he said changed that. I'm fine. Is there anything else? I'll get going if there isn't, because I want to be alone.
Okay. I guess you're tired from work. I'm sure you want some time to yourself. You're working today too, right? Where at?
Sis had found several jobs for him. He worked at a few different places. He was helping out when necessary at any of the shops Mion introduced him to. As a result, he constantly had to do different tasks in a different environment almost every time. On top of that, he requested high-paying jobs from Mion because he wanted a large sum of money as soon as possible. In other words, he chose to mostly do manual labor. He was exhausted every day because he wasn't that physically strong. Does it matter? And shouldn't you know because you helped me get the job? Mion did help him get the job, yet Satoshi-kun didn't look thankful for that opportunity. This wasn't like him at all. It made me feel sad.
You're right. Sorry.
Is that all? He sounded so harsh. Why was he being like that? Would he ever stroke my head again? couldn't help my tears. They flowed onto my cheeks. Satoshi-kun looked confused for a moment, but then he frowned again.
Sorry. The coach said he wanted you to come back to practice.
I told him I quit, so I won't be going back.
But maybe it's a good idea to work out from time to time. You know?
Not interested. Okay, Cloud! Kyo minai!
Huh.
I didn't know why he was being so hostile towards me. Why did he hate me so much? I was left bewildered.
Why? How come?
Because I'm busy with work. Isn't it obvious?
No, I didn't mean that. Why do you hate me so much?
That's an interesting conclusion to come to. Why don't you ask yourself?
Ask myself. What? What did I do? I don't understand, Satoshi-kun.
I couldn't control my emotions any longer. Streaks of tears ran down my cheeks. Satoshi-kun gave me a hateful glare and walked away without saying another word. I couldn't even stop him. If I tried, he'd hurt me again with another cutting remark. I couldn't bear that, so I just watched him walk away. I wiped my tears and went back to the classroom. I heard somebody crying from inside. What's going on? I looked around the room to see. It was Satoko. I saw her bento box on the floor. I asked one of her classmates what happened, and it seemed that Satoko had bumped into somebody's shoulder when she stood up to go wash the box out. That was all. But Satoko was crying as if afraid she was going to be chided badly. What happened was very minor. She could just pick up the bento box and things would be fine. It looked like the lid came a little loose, but it was definitely fixable. She didn't have to cry like that. Yet Satoko started begging through her tears.
Help me, Mimi! No!
Because of what happened with Satoshi-kun, I couldn't suppress my emotions very well. So instead, they exploded. I stormed up to Satoko while elbowing her classmates aside. I grabbed her by the head, then threw her into the wall! Jesus! Satoko screamed, and she didn't seem to understand what had happened. She was shedding tears and shivering. She must be wondering why I did that. I'm wondering why you fucking did that. Jesus Christ.
Do you know why I did that? Help me!
Satoko cried for her brother's help again. And so I grabbed her head and threw her again. Oh.
It's bad here. It's bad.
Oh! Satoko stumbled and crashed into a desk. The desk fell and the contents of the drawers scattered about. Hey, we're definitely putting a little bit of a content warning in that description this time.
Yep.
Satoko didn't even stand up. She just crouched and trembled while looking up at me.
Help me. You weren't like that!
If you weren't like that, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer. Don't you get it? That's what I wanted to say, but I was too angry to utter another word. I picked up a bunch of textbooks from the floor and threw them at her face.
Cry as much as you want, but nothing's gonna change! Why are you crying? Because you think somebody's gonna help you? You don't have any idea what he has to go through to protect you, do you? Do you understand that? Do you understand what you're doing? You shouldn't exist! Die if you don't want to suffer! Go fuck yourself! Don't hurt Satoshi-kun! You deserve to die alone! You just deserve to die!
Her desperate cries only increased my irritation.
Stop crying! Don't call your brother for help! Stop it! If you weren't like that, if only you...
I kept on throwing things at her. Satoko curled up to protect herself and cried even harder. At that point, a girl with long hair ran up and huddled over to her. I knew who that was. Rika Furude, one of Satoko's only friends.
Please don't hurt her. She's in a poor situation.
So please don't hurt her. Rika knows that's not Mion.
It doesn't matter how pathetic she is. She shouldn't rely on Satoshi-kun all the time. Stop spoiling her. Satoshi-kun has to suffer so much because of her.
No! Stop! Don't hurt her. Rika also became the target of my anger.
I'm trying to teach her something here. If you keep getting in the way, I'll crack your head open.
I grabbed a chair and lifted it over my head. It wouldn't hurt only a little if I threw this thing at them. Rika tightly closed her eyes and covered Satoko with her body. I didn't care what the consequences would be. I didn't care if I hurt them.
Stop! Nichan!
Rena returned to the classroom and shouted at me. Then, Satoshi-kun rushed in while pushing Rena aside, seeming to have grasped the situation immediately. He charged straight at me. Until my body had hit the locker, I didn't understand what had happened. There was a loud crashing noise. I left a dent in it. I crouched there in pain. Satoko, are you alright? Satoko pushed Rika aside, jumped at her brother, and started crying again. What happened? Why were you treated like that? Why?
I didn't do anything, but Mion-san, she suddenly...
What's going on, Mion? Satoshi-kun shouted at me while clutching his sister. He looked fierce. What did Satoko do to deserve this? What did we do? Why do we always have to suffer like this? Why? Why? He released Satoko and rushed up to me, grabbing me by the neck. Observed.
You said that I should ask myself, didn't you? So why don't you ask yourself?
Ask what?
I know you feel she's a burden on you. You always have to suffer because of her. You know that, right? If she were stronger, you wouldn't have to suffer. She's the one to blame.
I don't believe what I said was wrong. But after hearing it, Satoshi-kun went berserk. Oh, what the heck do you know?
Ow! Ah!
Satoshi-kun grabbed my hair and threw me to the wall, just like I did to Satoko. However, I wasn't going to back down. I no longer had any control over my emotions at all.
You spent so much time protecting her! She'll never stop relying on you! Ow! Until you stop doing that!
What the hell do you know about us? What the heck do you know? You persecuted our parents, and now it's us? That's the way of the Sonozaki family, huh? You torture traitors for fun! Is it fun? Is it fun bullying us? Huh?
Stop it!
That was Rena's voice. She stepped in, looking as fierce as a demon.
Satoshi-kun, please. Nichan doesn't have any bad intentions. She wanted to help you, but she just lost control a little. Okay?
She grabbed a child's hair and threw her against the wall. Satoshi-kun looked like he wanted to say something back, but he chose not to.
You too, Michan. I know how much you worry about Satoshi-kun, but you can't solve the problem like that. I think you understand, right?
Since Satoshi-kun didn't say anything, I kept quiet too.
Here, Satoko-chan. You don't have to cry just because you dropped your bento box, alright? Do you feel better now?
Satoko, I'll pick up the bento for you. Rika started picking up the bento box while its owner continued to cry.
Guys, can you help us clean up? The teacher will be back from the vegetable garden soon. This quarrel is over, so don't tell her about it. Okay?
Just ignore the blood stain on the wall from where Satoko was thrown at it twice. Classmates looked at each other and nodded, then started picking up the stuff on the floor. And the dent in the locker. Fuck.
Here. Satoshi-kun, Michan, Why don't you guys shake hands as a sign of reconciliation? There. Sorry. I didn't mean to do this.
Tears started to roll down my cheeks again. I'm sorry, too. You have nothing to do with our family situation. I'm sorry.
Mi-chan, you should apologize to Satoko-chan now. Okay?
I was fine with apologizing to Satoshi-kun, but I didn't want to apologize to her. But the situation wouldn't be settled otherwise, so I reluctantly apologized. I don't think you mean it. Satoko nodded, looking discouraged. After that, Rena let me go. My head ached, so I held it with both hands. What was that? What did I do? I didn't want to use this precious time to fight. Sis had warned me. She told me that I shouldn't talk to Satoshi-kun just like that. What did I come here for? I shouldn't have come here if I knew this was going to happen. Stupid, you're stupid, Shion. I was overcome by emotions because I was so worried about Satoshi-kun. When did things go wrong? Were they wrong from the beginning? I got into a fight with Satoshi-kun. This was totally the opposite of what I wanted. I regretted it. I hated myself for it. I couldn't blame myself enough. My world had been torn apart. I wish the sky would fall and kill me. Sis sounded both amazed and confused. You know, I'm busy with the festival preparations, but you certainly made things more complicated.
Sorry.
Sis tried to say something, but she stopped in the middle. After listening to a few complaints, I started telling her about everything that happened today. Sis had to pretend that the trouble I caused today was her responsibility, which must have been very taxing for her.
So, I won't get the chance to trade spots for a while?
Hey, I think you should be more aware of the hassle I have to go through.
Yeah, you're right.
Sis had been sympathetic, but maybe I pushed her too far this time. Of course, she'd be hesitant to trade spots, considering what I did today. The atmosphere felt awkward, so we were both silent for a while. If you were to get another chance, what would you do, Shion? That was a reasonable question. I wasn't prepared to answer, though. If I had a chance to go to the school once again and see Satoshi-kun, what would I do? Would I apologize to him about today? I don't think that would work. That might even upset him again, no matter how hard I tried. Okay, here's something that he was saying. It was the Sonozaki family who had been harassing his. It would only be natural for him to hold a grudge against us. But why was he only expressing that now? I've been a Sonozaki to him all along. Satoshi-kun stroked my head even though he knew that I was a Mion Sonozaki.
Sis, do you think that Satoshi-kun is holding a grudge against the Sonozaki family?
I think so, yes. It was our family that initiated the persecution of the Hojo family, making them into scapegoats. Even after the dam conflict, it wasn't easy for the Hojo family to live in Hinamizawa. Given all of that, it's not surprising that Satoshi-kun hates us. The Sonozaki family, who put his family in a devastating situation.
But why now? Why is he only expressing that grudge to us now? Why is this happening now? If he wanted to. Oh.
If he had rejected me in the first place, I wouldn't have wanted to get close to him. My tears wet my cheeks. I didn't bother to wipe them. It's only natural for him to hold a grudge against the Sonozakis. There's nothing unusual about it. Rather, why has he been treating me like a friend? This music is making me, like, want to tear up.
Oh, buddy.
No, it's crazy how much of, like, an impact this, like, a cultural impact this song has had.
Yeah.
It's like, Because, like, I was telling my friend that I got to this part of the game, and, like, she never played the game, she watched the anime. This is my friend that reminds me of Rena. And, I was like, we heard you for the first time, and she went, oh, is that the one that goes da 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 da? And I was like, yeah. I knew how stupid this question was. I think it's because he was mature.
I can't understand it.
You've been treating me as a friend because he was mature? But now that he'd become stressed mentally and physically, he's decided to reject me? No matter how hard I thought about it, I couldn't find anything to fault him with. If there was somebody to blame, it'd be somebody I'd never accused before.
Why did the hag decide to persecute the Hojo family?
Eh?
It was his parents who supported the dam project, right? Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with it. Why was he included? Why?
Mion couldn't say anything in return. Actually, it wasn't at all hard to guess the reason. The hag didn't give any specific order to harass the Hojo family. She just thought the Hojo family was getting in the way. The people around her noticed what was bothering her and took steps to get rid of it. Though, of course, she must have known how influential her own words were. She didn't just think it. She gave what she must have known would be interpreted as an order. She's the one to blame for initiating the attack on the Hojo family.
You said before that the Furude priest wasn't mature because he didn't cooperate, right? Is this the same scenario? The Hojo family wasn't mature because they didn't act in accordance with the other villagers? That's why the hag decided to punish them, isn't it?
Mion couldn't say anything in return, meaning that my accusation was the truth.
They already punished the Hojo couple. Feel free to bring them to the torture room in the garden and chop their fingers off or something. But leave Satoshi-kun alone. Satoshi-kun has nothing to do with this. What did he do to deserve this? What did he do wrong? Answer me! Answer me! Mion! Mion!
Very well. Please take care of the matter. Goodbye. Mion suddenly changed her tone and hung up. She must have done that to escape from my questions. I was furious. I started redialing the number, but then I remembered that we decided she'd hang up the phone after using that phrase when she saw the hag coming. I doubted she actually saw the hag, but it was the rule, so I couldn't call back for a while. I went to the bathroom to wash my face and cool down. I turned the faucet. The water felt lukewarm. It didn't help me to cool down at all.
I'm disgusted by my own childishness. I just wanted to fill my void. I didn't care about him. Considering that, Satoshi-kun was very generous. But I don't know if I can forgive Satoko. That's a different story.
Wow. Tips! End of chapter!
Tips.
I was looking up at the ceiling with my arms and legs spread out. It's not that I wasn't getting hungry. I didn't live with my parents. I didn't live in the school dorm. That meant I had to cook something myself when I wanted to eat. I knew that, but I still didn't feel like getting up. It had been several days since I began this empty life. It must be tomorrow. The Watsunagashi festival, I mean. Uh-oh. I heard the doorbell ringing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I ignored it at first, but it rung persistently. Rang, you mean? Started hearing knocking, alongside Kasai's rude voice. Shion-san, please open up. I bought some food for you. I didn't ask him to. He must have known that I hadn't eaten enough, and that I'd been feeling down lately. You haven't eaten, have you? Long man!
Orangutan. I'm not hungry.
But when Kasai put the food on the table, my stomach reacted in a very primitive way by making some noise. Your stomach is growling. I believe you need to eat. I was hungry, but had no appetite. I mean, I did have an appetite, but I didn't have the energy to eat. Yet, I'd feel bad wasting the food Kasai had brought. Picked up my chopsticks just to humor him.
I thought you were marked by Grandma. Is it okay for you to be here?
Oryo-san is busy with the festival preparation meetings. She doesn't seem to have time to deal with you right now. Didn't you like croquettes?
They're good. Thanks.
While I nibbled on the food, Kasai read through the magazines I bought.
Have you...
I'd never talked to Kasai about something like this before. Since I've always believed myself superior to him psychologically, wow, I hesitated to show my weaknesses to him. That kind of hardship is healthy for your age.
Hey, do you know about that?
Mion-san told me a little about it. She said she wanted me to assist you.
She did she?
She looked worried. Your sister is looking out for you. Without responding, I threw the last croquette in my mouth. I thought you might want to know how Satoshi Hojo-kun is doing. I've gathered some information. Would you like me to report?
That's not necessary. But since you went through all the trouble, I think I'd better listen.
Kasai chuckled, but stopped quickly as if thinking it rude. It seems that Teppei Hojo fled the premises. He seems to be staying with an intimate lady friend in Okinomiya.
Teppei? Who's that? Oh, Satoshi-kun's uncle, right?
Their aunt, Tamei Hojo, Satoshi, and Satoko are the only ones living in the house now. Ever since Tamei learned that Teppei had fled to another woman, she's been in a foul mood.
So that must mean that the aunt is being even nastier to Satoko, and Satoshi-kun is taking even more indirect blows.
I don't know about Satoshi-kun, but I heard that Satoko-san is in a bad state. The neighbors are spreading rumors about her. If Satoko looks miserable, that means Satoshi-kun must be going through equally miserable torture.
Can't you do something about that aunt? Doesn't anybody talk about punishing her?
She's also one of the remaining Hojos after all. The uncle is gone, so why not the aunt? The main Sonozaki family ruled against further harassment toward the Hojo family after the death of the couple. They say the police still might be staking out their house due to suspicions about the couple's death.
Their deaths have been filed into Oyashiro-sama's curse. So the Sonozaki family thinks no further divine intervention is necessary, huh?
Kasai put on a faint smile. Come to think of it, it is hard not to suspect the involvement of the Sonozaki family in all the incidents said to be Oyashiro-sama's curse. Somebody strives to get rid of the hag's concerns on the day of the Watsunagashi festival. Furthermore, the Watsunagashi festival is going to be held tomorrow. Will the curse strike again this year? If so, who will be the victim? Now that I think about it, there were cases of multiple victims in the past. The first and third year, it was just one, but the second year, the victims were a couple. So it wouldn't be too strange if 2 people fell victim this year. Seems like a good time. It'd be best for Satoko and her aunt to be the victims. Fucking Jesus. Satoshi-kun will be freed from every source of his worries all at once.
Kasai, do you know if this year's victim has been selected already? Does Grandma make the decision? If so, Sis should know about it by now. Kasai, do you know anything?
Shion-san, I don't know anything about that matter.
Oh, that makes sense. That kind of secret won't make its way to you because you're just a small fry.
That's true. I've never received any information regarding that from my connections, but as you know, the Sonozaki family has access to many underground organizations, which I have no channels into. Maybe I could try asking Sis about it. But she won't talk! She's strict about keeping promises, unlike me. If the hag told her to keep a secret, she'd take it to her grave.
Damn. I hope Satoko and her aunt will go missing this year.
Hey,
Hey,
that's
Kasai,
you.
I just thought of that. Aren't you gonna do something about it?
Shion-san, you must be joking.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I took a glimpse at Kasai. It didn't look like he was actually going to do something to make my wish come true. I wasn't able to go to the village as myself, so I definitely wasn't going to the festival. I didn't care about that. Even so, I was interested in who was going to end up as the victim of the curse. If I just kept lying on this couch playing hooky, somebody would fall victim in several hours. I had no clue why it had to happen every year, but I was certain that the hag was behind it. All the enemies from the dam conflict had been punished. Only the Hojo couple was left, since most of the other enemies had already gone. The cicadas were crying loudly outside. It made me feel hot. Why was it this hot and humid in June? If Oyashiro-sama was actually punishing people, I'd pray for one thing. I'd pray that the evil ant would be punished, and I'd offer up Satoko as a sacrifice. Ha! It's hot. But it's not that hot yet. When I woke up, Kasai had already gone. Looks like he cleaned the table in the surrounding room. He put my dirty laundry into the hamper in front of the washing machine, too. How kind. Being a girl of a sensitive age, I didn't want a man to clean my room. Well, I'd rather thank him than bad-mouth him. I looked at the clock. It was late afternoon. I had to go grocery shopping. There was nothing left in the fridge, and I'd be having just rice for dinner if I didn't go. At that moment, the phone rang. It must be Kasai, I thought. I did hope it was him. He could have brought more food, so then I wouldn't have to go shopping. While I was just being lazy, I didn't feel like going out at all. But it wasn't Kasai on the phone.
Sis, where are you calling from? The house?
No. I'm calling from a payphone, so I'll make it quick. Satoshi called me.
Satoshi-kun did? He called you?
It probably wasn't me he wanted. He called you, I think. It sounded like he wanted to apologize for what happened the other day. So I thought you should take the call. I told him that I'd call back because I was busy. So, can you call this number?
Okay.
I was stunned for a second, but then recovered and wrote down the number on the back of a magazine.
Thanks. I'll call right away.
Good. He's been extremely stressed these days. I don't think he'll listen to me anymore, but I think he'll listen to you. She could have pretended to be me and handled his call, but she passed it over to me.
Thanks, Mion.
See you, Shion. Before she hung up, I put the handset down. Then after a second, I dialed the number in a flash. I heard the dial tone 3 times, 4 times, and there he was. Hojo residence. He sounded like an adult. His voice sounded a bit tired too, but it definitely was the voice I loved. I got scared. I was scared that he might become sulky again if I mentioned my name. I couldn't open my mouth for a while.
Is that you, Satoshi-kun?
Oh, sorry that I called you so suddenly. Are you okay now? That was the Satoshi-kun I knew. He didn't sound cold like the other day.
Yes. I'm okay now.
Good. After that, he went silent. Felt the urge to start a conversation. It wasn't fair. He was the one who called in the first place. Then, he finally spoke. I'm truly sorry for what happened the other day.
I'm sorry too.
You don't have to apologize. Because I was the one in the wrong. No, you weren't. If this were a face-to-face conversation, he would be stroking my head. It was sad just talking to him over the phone. I won't forgive those people who forced us into this situation. You might be close to them, but it was never you personally. So I wanted to apologize.
No, please don't apologize. I was selfish and didn't try to understand your situation very well.
We apologized to each other a few times.
Satoshi-kun, are you alright? You're working, and you're under a lot of stress. Isn't that too much to handle?
I quit my job, since I have enough money now.
You did? That's good. You don't have to push yourself anymore then. That's really good.
Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but he dropped it instead. Satoko has it far worse than me.
Seems like it. Is she alright?
Does she look alright to you? He suddenly sounded upset. I had messed up.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, the apologizing. I was so stupid. I had ruined this miraculous conversation with him. Satoshi-kun didn't respond to my apology, so I stopped apologizing. She's been hurt so much, it's clear to see. She's so torn up. And everybody abandoned her. Everybody did.
I didn't...
I tried to calm him down. I hated what I just said because of how hollow it sounded. I had no idea what to say next. I felt guilty. Satoshi-kun was desperate to protect Satoko from their evil aunt. But I'd wish that Satoko would die tomorrow because of the curse. I was trampling on his desperate hope. Satoko can't take it anymore. So... He cut himself off in the middle and went quiet for a moment. He must have been choosing his words carefully. Then he finally spoke. His words sounded hollow. I mean, I want her to have fun for one night.
What do you mean?
The Watanagashi Festival's tomorrow, isn't it? I want you to take her there.
Yeah, I can do that, but why?
She's exhausted. So I think she'd be happy if she could get away from her aunt for even just one night.
But why?
Why? It's not that I didn't understand why he wanted her taken to the festival. What I didn't understand is why he was asking me to do that. Was there any reason he couldn't take her there himself? I had a hunch that he might disappear, so I kept asking. What do you mean, why?
Why don't you take her yourself?
He fell silent. Satoshi-kun isn't good at lying or keeping secrets. It was clear that he wanted to hide something. I just have some stuff that I need to take care of with my work tomorrow. So I can't go to the festival. He was lying. But he was also stubborn. He wouldn't admit it if I accused him. Mion, can you take her there tomorrow? This reminds me of the conversation that Keiichi had with Mion about taking Satoko to the festival because he was going to kill Teppei.
Does that tell you something?
A little bit, yeah. That Mion... It tells me that, like, Mion probably... Like, I think she did say she basically was having deja vu because... I think she did say that Satoshi did the same thing. So...
Are you noticing something there?
Stop! Stop! I'm scared! You're scaring me! I should be noticing something, but... So, okay.
Walk it through with me.
I'll walk it through with you. So this is what happened when this happened with Keiichi. Keiichi called Mio and said, take Satoko to the thing. Satoshi went and killed the uncle. So
yes.
Satoshi is going to kill the aunt.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. And then after Keiichi killed the uncle, the next day, he seemed to be in a different reality where the uncle was still alive. He didn't kill the uncle at all. And Satoko was still being abused. Satoshi is going to kill the aunt, and the same shit's gonna happen to him. He's gonna be spirited away to a different universe where the aunt is still alive.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I want you to notice something specifically about the phone call.
Why?
The 2 phone calls.
Okay, so... Satoshi thinks he's talking to Mion.
Yes.
Ah, yeah. So maybe Keiichi was talking to Shion and didn't realize it.
There's specifically a part where, quote-unquote, Mion says, "You're reminding me of a conversation I had with Satoshi."
I see.
Here, Mion didn't have that conversation with Satoshi.
I see. Well, thank you for for pointing that out because I'm being of dumb.
You're not being dumb. There's a lot of details to keep track of.
Gotcha.
But this is what I mean by Mion spotting.
Got it.
You have to keep your eyes out.
So Keiichi was talking to Shion and not Mion. I see. I wouldn't
Which
want to...
then means...
Yeah. That Shion...
I'm making a weird face.
Shion was at the Watanagashi in that chapter, right?
Yes, that was... I will say that was 100% Shion.
Which then means...
If Shion was the one who gave that call, then...
There were more circumstances during that chapter where Keiichi was talking to Shion and not Mion? Is that where you're trying to lead me? Or...
Okay.
Because...
Who was at the end of that chapter? Who was the Sonozaki locked in the cage, and who was the Sonozaki that locked Keiichi in the cage and was torturing him?
In chapter 2? Or not chapter 2? Was it chapter 2? It was chapter 2.
Long time ago. Like a year.
It's been a while.
Of real time.
So are you talking about like that specific phone call where Keiichi like called out like, you're not Shion, you're Mion. Was it actually Shion?
Yes.
Okay. And then the one locked in the cage was Mion?
One mystery solved.
One mystery solved. Wow. I wouldn't want to look after Satoko, even at Satoshi-kun's request. With how psychotic Shion has acted this chapter, I believe that more now because like
it makes sense.
It makes more sense because our only like exposure in chapter 2 was like she was a little bitch, but like we didn't get to see that like her grabbing Satoko by the head and throwing her against a wall. Like god damn.
Also, Shmion's freak out when Keiichi was on the ladder. Where she was
I did think about that.
Satoko.
I did think about that.
In a very, very malignant manner.
Yeah, their family is cursed. That part, yeah. They're cursed. I did think about that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, that could have been Shion. God, how often did they trade places? And why? Weirdos.
I mean, you're seeing it now. Why did they trade places so often? Because Shion couldn't be seen. And she wanted to, live a life. And I don't blame her for that.
So she'd be like, hey, Mion, can we trade places today so I can be a fucking psycho to your love interest? Awesome!
Yay, thanks sis, bye!
Just girl things.
She's so girly pop.
She's so girly pop. Even at Satoshi-kun's request, I wouldn't want to look after Satoko. But I'm also glad that he's relying on me. I know it's ridiculous to ask for your help after that incident, but you're the only person I can turn to now. I didn't know what to say. I did know, though, that I wasn't going to turn down his request.
Okay. But just for tomorrow, alright?
I hope you'll keep looking after her.
What are you saying? I won't do that. Just for tomorrow.
What a bitch. He sounded as if he were going to disappear tomorrow. I didn't like the sound of that, so I intentionally sounded sulky. We talked about trivial stuff for just a little while. When the conversation was almost over, Satoshi-kun asked something else. Hey, Mion. I really hate asking this since you might think I'm crazy for saying it, but...
What?
You... That's my favorite song. Don't believe in it, right?
Believe in what?
In Oyashiro-sama's curse.
What are you talking about, Satoshi-kun?
Those who abandon the village and try to run away get cursed by Oyashiro-sama, right? That's the rule. Every kid in the village knows that.
That's the rule. What's with that suddenly? Are you planning to leave?
No, I was kidding. I wanted him to deny it. I'm not thinking about that anymore. He admitted that he had thought of it. I guess Rena told me that much.
That's good. So you're not leaving the village?
No, but I haven't been forgiven yet. Satoshi-kun tried to say something but hesitated. He was breathing so heavily. Was he sick?
Hey, do you feel alright, Satoshi-kun?
Sorry. I'm fine.
I guess you're tired. I think you should go get some rest.
He sounded distinctly more sickly from when this conversation had started. He breathed heavily when punctuating his words. Satoshi-kun repeated his question. Mion, I'll ask you one more time. Do you believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse? What did he want me to say? Could I make him feel relieved with my answer? How should I respond? The answer was simple.
There's no curse. There can't possibly be.
I didn't know what was bothering him, but I wanted to make him feel better by laughing his worries away. Satoshi-kun, instead, fell silent. Would my answer make him happy, or maybe sad? I couldn't tell. One thing was certain. I didn't make him feel any better. Sorry that I asked such a weird question.
Sorry.
Felt like I let him down, so I apologized in a rush. Whether it's a real curse or somebody's conspiracy, I won't disappear, and I won't fall victim to it.
You won't disappear?
No. Not until I buy that teddy bear. I'll get the money pretty soon. I won't go anywhere until then. It is confirmed that he did buy the teddy bear before he disappeared, right?
Yes.
He did.
We know that. We know that.
He chuckled. I knew he was trying to relieve me, but it worked the opposite way. He sounded as though he didn't care what would happen after he bought the teddy bear. Oh, my aunt is home. I have to go.
Oh, okay.
Mion.
Huh?
Even though he wanted to hang up the phone because of his aunt coming back, Satoshi-kun took a breath to tell me something important. I'll leave Satoko to you. I should have said yes right away, but I still couldn't forgive Satoko, so I just kept quiet. Forget what I said. Bye.
Oh.
He was obviously disappointed. What had I done? I wanted to apologize. I wish I could. But it was too late. The dial tone left no doubt. Now, that was depressing. That was depressing. Damn. I don't remember when we started. Hang on, I could check the...
It was about 5:30 my time. And it is
check.
about 7:30 now.
Okay, we've only been going 2 hours. Cool.
Tisps.
Tisps. Yo. Do-do.
I fully read this as a Tom diary, by the way.
Me too! Here, you can read this.
Somebody whispered to me from behind. They told me that I was going to be the victim of the curse this year. So I'm going to disappear soon. There'll be nobody left to take care of Satoko. Somebody whispered to me from behind. They told me that I don't have much time. That I won't stay as myself for much longer. So I had to make the best of the days I had left. What could I leave for Satoko? She wanted that huge teddy bear.
Satoko never got the teddy bear, though. Right?
No.
Got it.
She wanted a peaceful life in which nobody would bully her. I whispered to the person at my back. Bestow your violent nature and formidable strength upon me. I want your peaceful mind filled with hatred.
Oh, I left before we got to listen to the song. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Do you want to take a short break? Because it's been another hour.
We can take a short break. I can get up and stretch and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. A stretch.
Yeah, alright, let's do that. We back.
And like we never left.
Whoa. I need to just start, maybe I should start just recording the VODs as I'm streaming. Because I could just pause the VOD. I used to do that, but then it was just taking up too much disk space as I was doing it, so I had to stop. Now it just takes 10 years for me to download the VODs from Twitch and then edit them and then export them and... Whoa! Alright. Hang on, let me make sure I have the preview up in case my model freaks out. Over here. Day of the Watanagashi Festival. June 20th, 1982, 1:40 p.m. What was I doing today? Nothing in particular. Nothing at all. Hang on, paranoia has overcome me. I must check the stuff. Alright, we're good. Good. That up. Right? Nothing at all. I just wanted to play hooky. I woke up in the afternoon. I ate instant food for lunch while watching boring TV programs. I had a light headache, so I lay down on the sofa. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep. Whatever. I decided to sleep. I'd already told Sis that Satoshi-kun had asked her to look after Satoko. I didn't have to do anything myself. I fell asleep, though my head was aching a little bit. That would be all I'd have to deal with. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were pro-dam activists. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute. But people had stopped looking coldly upon her, even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her. And so, she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hatred from the villagers, and the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. What came first? Their poor relationships with the neighbors? Or her husband's affair? She didn't know herself. Her husband claimed that he got a lover because he was fed up with her attitude. She, in turn, claimed that their relationships with the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the same time. Their quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home late, the wife would shout at him at the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being as rotten as it was, but he secretly knew the reason for that too. It was the fortune his parents had left. His aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp and never allowed her husband access to them. So her husband would search the house for them. She'd find out he stole some money from her purse. This would cause yet another fight. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had that much money when they were alive. After their death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a large sum of money in some bank account. Satoshi couldn't understand why they had that kind of money, because his family had been, as far as he knew, poor. It was because of the dam project. His parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. New information just dropped. They had strived to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. After someone from some financial institution revealed its existence, they appeared to adopt Satoko and Satoshi. The couple would fight every day. Eventually, Satoshi's uncle started spending more time at his mistress's home. He realized that he had no reason to return to his own home, because he just ended up in a fight with his wife if he did. When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well. Satoshi's aunt wouldn't have to vent her frustration upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship, so if they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. Satoshi had thought that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Another woman had stolen her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifyingly embarrassing. Since she lost an opponent to fight, Satoshi's aunt directed her hatred toward the siblings. Satoshi had been observing her. He learned when she would get upset and how to avoid her attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her by turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Satoko couldn't do that. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in their aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi strived to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. He stepped in to mend their relationship. It was a heavy burden for him, though, because he was still just a boy. He bore so much. He covered for his little sister. By lying and maneuvering, he tried to maintain a tangible sense of peace. But he couldn't do that forever. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt had already spiraled out of control. Satoshi found something in the trash. It probably wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation workers would come and pick it up. He passed by the street all the time, so he noticed when there were new things dumped there. He'd found a plain-looking desk of the kind likely to be seen in offices. Somebody must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. She'd had Satoshi help bring a chest home just a few days ago. If he told her about the desk, she'd want it. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so she'd always open them to check before carrying the thing home. Satoshi opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked for about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush. There he laid something he'd been carrying all the time until today. It'd be very hard to find unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, Satoshi looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m.
Hey, old pal. I see you showed up again this year. You'd better get ready for us.
Oh,
You're as peppy as ever. Oh, is she a newcomer?
Uh-huh. This is Rena Ryugu. Don't underestimate her. She's good. No, I'm not. Nice to meet you.
Yo, you too. I've brought all kinds of prizes this year. They'll all be a real battle to win. Try and take them all with you if you can.
Rena tends to dote on cute stuff. Yeah, that stuffed animal looks like just her type. What? Oh, so cute! I want to take it home with me.
Hey, the booth isn't open yet. Ah!
Stop it, Rena. He says the booth isn't open yet. You can run him into the ground once he opens it up. Oh, it's mine. I'm taking it home.
Rena lost her marbles over the stuffed animal. Everybody laughed. Everybody except Satoko. She was standing by herself, some distance from the crowd. Her eyes looked dull.
Me. What is it? Oh, that's you. Ah.
Taking my care. I'm sorry.
What is it, Rika?
Rika walked up to Satoko, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up.
Forget your worries today. Let's just have fun.
Satoko looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, her circumstances at home wouldn't change.
Satoko, your evil aunt isn't around. I know that. So why don't you have fun? Nipa!
No
Let's
chat.
fucking go.
No chat to Nipa. That's fine.
Yeah, you'll have to do it in your heads.
Do it in your head.
Nipa! Nipa!
The music is Nipawing. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, but I don't feel like it. Could you please leave me alone? Why aren't you smiling?
Satoko sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look, as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival was. Once she went home, her aunt would be there. The aunt would find something wrong with Satoko, get mad, and shout at her so loudly that the neighbors would hear. How can she have fun, even just for today, while knowing all that? Satoko didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed her emotions to Rika.
So, Satoko, if your suffering ends today, will you smile?
Satoko gasped. She thought that Rika might do something to help. But soon after, she realized that Rika was just trying to comfort her. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? How? Satoko knew that there was really nothing Rika could do. And so, after just one moment of freedom, Satoko fell into depression again.
Rika, don't give me false hopes. Satoko.
Rika's voice was clearer than Satoko had ever heard before.
It's already been decided.
Oh. June 20th, 1982, 8:11 p.m. Satoshi snuck out the window after supper. He heard the distant ruckus of the festival. The festival would end at 9 p.m. After the Watanagashi ceremony, there was going to be a raffle drawing. So there were two types of people in Hanamizawa. The people who would go home for dinner and the ones who would stay until the raffle was over. Either relaxing at home or still at the festival. There were only those two patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity of Satoshi's house. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this, but he would keep worrying until he saw it for himself. He was barefooted, but started running without hesitation. Ouch. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal, running on his bare feet. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Not only his running ability, his vision, his hearing, and his sense of smell. All his senses were keener, including his sixth sense. He could almost sense the presence of people in the distance, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. Thinks about my theory. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear. But now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. June 20th, 1982, 8:37 p.m.
All right, everyone. I'm going to explain how the raffle works. Please gather around the altar.
The festival had reached its climax. The raffle was going to start. Both the women who were dancing and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. This was the first time they'd held a raffle. The planning committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, their prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oreo, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had them thrown away. Oreo took the initiative and bought a brand new TV, a washing machine, a cooling fan, and other such things for the raffle. Nice. Washing machine. The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. Oreo was upset because the committee members weren't enthusiastic enough, in her opinion. Some of the members thought it would be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the very first and last raffle.
There's Oreo.
Oreo. I don't remember who was either of these characters.
I don't either. Let's say you're Kichiro and I'll be Oreo.
Okay. Thanks to I'm indifferent. Thanks to you, we have such wonderful prizes this year, Oreo-san. They must have cost a lot, didn't they? We can reimburse you from our budget.
Buffoon! No point in reimbursing that. It was never about the money. Idiots.
Now, don't say that. This raffle's all thanks to you, Oreo-san.
It's not like I'm doing this all by myself. Don't be ridiculous.
The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was having a tough time pacifying Oreo. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. He looked upset, so Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody probably got hurt in an accident. What's going on, Makino-san? I hope you're not having a heart attack. Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, still looked tense. He whispered something to Kimiyoshi. Even without hearing the exchange between Makino and Kimiyoshi, it was plain as day there was bad news. Oryo-san, I have unpleasant news if you don't mind. Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Orio's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him. Oh dear. This is bad.
Ain't unexpected. What happens thrice will happen a fourth time.
That's not funny, Oryo-san.
You're right, it isn't. It's just another hassle.
The police are trying to identify the body. I heard that the face was completely destroyed, so it'll be difficult. Ah, Takano.
It's quite clear who it is, though.
Do you know who it might be? Oryo glared at Kimiyoshi, then started chuckling.
Idiot!
No, wait, this is the year before Takano died.
You must be some impudent lad who didn't come to the Watanagashi festival. People who respect Oyashiro-sama won't get involved in something like that.
Oryo kept laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04 p.m. 4 minutes after the raffle. Oh my god! Wow!
Kumagai gets a Sprite.
Kumagai!
He looks like Looker from Pokemon.
Wow!
Purple.
I'll be Kumagai. This is merciless.
Kuma-chan. Every death is merciless unless the dead wish for it. They have my condolences. How's it going over there? Did you find something that could identify the body?
The forensic investigators shook their heads. Victims wearing sandals and casual clothes. They must be from this neighborhood. We should be able to identify the corpse by asking around.
That's the way we do it. The section manager says this case might become classified. So be careful with that.
Gotcha. Kumagai gathered some officers and gave them directions. Dr. Irie has arrived. Doctor, it's over here. A young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction.
Hello? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I had to help with the raffle. You must have drunk a lot at the festival, Doctor. Are you sure you're sober? Maybe I should run a breathalyzer test on you just to be safe. I'm fine. My assistant is driving. Clever of you. Hey, let the doctor pass.
There was an area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheet and let Oishi and Irie pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. The blood spatters and the bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with chalk and indicated with small alphabetized plates.
I'm not used to seeing things like this.
Irie took out a handkerchief and covered his nose.
You should breathe through your mouth. Well, you might sense the smell visually, though.
The body appeared to be that of a middle-aged woman. It was soaked in blood. It looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because its face was completely pulverized.
This is brutal. I'm sure it was done out of malice. The victim must have been murdered right here, judging from the pattern of the blood splatter on the soles of the sandals. And even though not many people take this road, the body's right in the middle of it. It's very unusual to see a culprit who would bludgeon their victim until their face was completely destroyed. Also, can you look at her arms?
Oishi put on latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arm.
See? Spotless, aren't they? Are you saying that the victim didn't try to protect her head? That there's no signs of struggle? Right you are. I think the victim lost consciousness with the first blow. Then the culprit kept beating to complete the murder. The victim was probably lying face down at that time, judging from the stains on her clothes. The body is face up now. The culprit seems to have flipped the victim over.
in order to smash her face, even though by that point, her death was certain.
Irie looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Oishi's reasoning.
Smashing the victim's face is clearly a sign of a grudge in my experience. It's a very profound grudge, too. That means the culprit must be someone very close to the victim. I understand you didn't call me to resuscitate her. Doctor, do you know who the victim is? If you do, I don't have to waste time questioning the neighbors.
Irie looked at the body once again. He looked away quickly and thought. Then after a while, Irie left the investigation area without saying anything.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Are you sure?
Oishi smirked and looked into Irie's eyes, as though Irie was hiding something.
I'm not hiding anything.
I guess you're still under the influence, Doctor. Maybe you'll remember when you're sober. Let me know if you do.
Oishi tapped Irie on the back. The doctor, saying he wanted some fresh air, left the scene. Kumagai returned. Oishi-san, the section manager is on the radio. The one in the first car.
Idiot lied.
Nothing.
Hurry up and question the neighbors. The victim must be from this area.
June 20th, 1982, 9:39 p.m. Oishi-san, here he is.
Thank you for coming here this late at night. I know you have school tomorrow. I'm really sorry to bother you.
Satoshi! No problem.
Where's your father?
My stepfather doesn't come home much.
Uh-huh. Since when? When did he come home last?
I don't know. I heard he's living with a woman who works at a club in Okinomiya or something. I don't remember exactly when, but I guess I saw him a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh. Do you have your father's address?
Is his father dead?
He's talking about Tepe.
Oh, okay. No.
He's living with a woman who works at a club. Do you know the name of the place?
No. I know it's in Okinomiya and that's all.
What's your father's name?
Tepe Hojo. Oishi signaled Kumagai with his chin, who nodded while taking notes.
Were your mother and father getting along well?
I don't know much about that, but I don't think so.
I see. I want you to tell me honestly. Do you know anyone who might have been holding a grudge against your stepmother?
I don't.
Alright. Please let me know if you remember something. Here's my card. My number's on it.
Okay.
I might ask you again for further inquiries. And if you see your stepfather, please let him know that we want to contact him. Kuma-chan, drive him home, will you?
No. I can go home by myself.
Please. Let us drive you home. There's a possibility that the culprit who murdered your aunt is roaming around the neighborhood. You might get hurt too.
Thank you for your consideration, but really, I'm fine. Satoshi tried to reject the offer, but Oishi and Kumagai insisted. In the end, it didn't even matter. Satoshi was forced to accept. I was waiting. It took a while for that to show up this stream. I turned around to leave. Stream. As if I'm streaming. When Oishi spoke to him, as if he remembered something he'd forgotten to say.
Hojo-san.
Yes?
Don't worry. It's no problem. We'll catch the culprit soon.
Do you have any leads?
Yeah, we do.
Like what?
That's confidential.
Ordinary people might not think that Oishi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke.
Well, usually people get pretty worked up when they commit murder. Though, of course, there are some exceptions.
What kind of evidence do you find when the culprit's worked up?
When somebody's in a very excited condition, their body shows many symptoms, like sweat, loss of hair. We often find the culprit's hair at crime scenes. Well, this is outside, so it's a bit different, but still.
Did you find their hair?
I don't know yet. The forensic guys are searching the scene right now. I'm anxious to see what they'll bring me.
Excuse me, I have to go now.
Please, Kuma-chan, would you?
Sure.
Hojo-san, see you again soon. I'll let you know if there's any progress in the investigation. Let me know when you remember something. Let's cooperate to catch the murderer of your stepmother.
Fuck you. No! No!
He's such a creep.
I hate him. Every time he shows
Fucking
up, I'm
dead.
like, everything is fucked up now. Everything's fucked up! What were you gonna say?
Detective Delicious is the herald of chaos.
He is. He's the herald of darkness. Ah!
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah. A little aside. Every time I listen to that song, so there was this cat, in the same apartment where we found Sasha, before we adopted Sasha.
Yes.
He was a black cat. He was small, and he looked angry all the time. And his name was Harold. So every time I hear Herald of Darkness, I'm like, Herald of Darkness.
Harold.
He's a little black cat, always mad. He was so funny because, like, after a while, he had like warmed up to us, but like, he was the type of cat where he'd like yell at you, he'd be like, meh, and like reach out because he wanted to be pet, but he only let you pet him if like he guided your hand. If you pet him too much, he would go ah, and then he would swipe at you. He was so strange. Oh, I hope he's doing okay. Sis called the morning after the Watanagashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi-kun and Satoko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now, since the problem was with Satoko and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason.
Do the police have a lead on the suspect?
Sis went quiet when I asked that. I don't know. Oishi seems to be questioning people in the neighborhood. He thinks the culprit is somebody close to the victim. Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious.
Does Satoshi-kun have an alibi for that day?
I don't know. I heaved a huge sigh.
Are you stupid? He was at the festival. Didn't you see him there?
Interesting. Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay, so, alright, this is very similar to what happened with Keiichi. So I'm going to guess that they actually were trying to cover for him, because they figured out that he was probably the one killing the uncle. Especially if Shion was the one he called. Shion would be like, okay, we have to cover for him, right?
Smiles. Who knows?
I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion. So that means he did do it?
That's not important now. The problem is whether he has an alibi or not.
Well, the police are going to come here later. I'll tell them I was with him at the festival.
Sis, lying out of the blue like that won't work. If you haven't done anything to ensure his alibi, it's too late now. Please just be honest with them. I can't trust your acting skills. You might raise more suspicion if you make something up on the spot.
Yeah, sorry. She sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject. I guess you haven't been able to work lately, have you?
You're right, I haven't. Thanks to you.
Sorry about that. I'll hide somewhere until tonight, so maybe you can work today? Sis had been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I hadn't been able to pretend to be her. I hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working. But I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment over opened and Kasai appeared. Shion-san, are you heading out?
Yeah. I'm going to work since Sis gave me time until tonight. Can you give me a ride?
Shion-san, wouldn't it be safer for you to take a few days off? The police seem to be staking out the main house. I don't think it's a good idea to leave.
I appreciate your concern, but I have to make money to survive.
Kasai might suggest he donate money to my cause. However, I had sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. While I don't obey anyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision, so after repeating himself a couple of times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Every time we went to my uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken with him on the phone just a couple of days before, it'd been a while since I saw him last.
Kasai? Sorry, but could you tell my uncle that I can't come today? I'm getting off here.
What? Shion-san! Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so he had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back.
Hello. I'm surprised to see you in Okinomiya, Satoshi-kun.
If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled as brightly as I could. Mion. He looked tired as always, but as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun. I don't know the circumstances, but you look happy.
Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy because you look happy.
When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before.
What's going on, Satoshi-kun?
The good old days. A week ago. Sorry.
Did something good happen?
Not really. My aunt died, and I have to deal with the police and the neighbors. I might have asked something dumb. He seemed to be okay with it, though. He'd frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi-kun continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him. So I was convinced. The one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I omitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive for killing his aunt and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in, and I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I omitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked.
Where are you going, Satoshi-kun? To work?
That's right. I have to make a stop before that, though.
A stop?
I have to make sure it's still there. Otherwise, I'll continue feeling really anxious. That conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was to buy Satoko a huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recalled that the teddy bear was very expensive. Satoko's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day, though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-coworkers and clean out his locker or something. Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why he wanted to check if they still had the teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Satoru's birthday. When he got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved that it hadn't been sold yet. Good. Alright. It's still there.
You've earned enough money already, haven't you? Why don't you reserve it?
He probably hadn't thought of that. He really did need someone to look after him. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute, in my opinion. It looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale.
I don't see a price tag. Is that really for sale? How much is it?
Yeah. I'm sure they sell it.
What about the price? Does it fit your budget?
It's alright. I already checked. Satoshi-kun thought I was teasing him again. He pouted and looked a little sulky.
There's no problem then. Why don't you go reserve it now? Then you won't have to feel anxious anymore.
We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is anybody here?
Nice. Maybe you can get it without paying.
No, Mion. Stealing is bad.
I'm just kidding. Trying to make you laugh. Do you think I'd really do that?
No, sorry. Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed up my cheeks to tease him. It had really been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now I felt as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us.
Do you like... Oh, it's gone now. I was about to say, do you like knock off Robbie in that background?
Maybe we'll see it again. I found
Maybe.
an old person napping in the back. He must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep.
Excuse me. You work here, right?
I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in.
Grandpa, you fell asleep again. We have customers. I'm really sorry, you two. He's been very flaky, you know.
The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that. There we go. Where's knockoff Robbie?
Okay, so that, like, white shelf in the middle left of the screen, in the middle shelf on the far left, yeah. Knock off Robbie.
Just another pink bunny. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I just wanted to make you happy because it's Pink Bunny.
No, I like it. But, like, oh god. You can't see my cursor on, like, the action on OBS. You can't see it, so it doesn't matter. I'm just showing. There's Leon and Ashley right there. Okay, for those watching the VOD, in the upper right corner, Leon and Ashley. It's great. For a second, I forgot her name. I was like, what the fuck is her name? Amanda? No.
That's so far from what it is.
It starts with an A.
I guess.
Okay.
So does Asmodeus. It doesn't mean they're similar.
Asmodeus. Okay, you already read that, right?
That was so embarrassing. So, how can I help you?
I'd like to reserve something. That big teddy bear in the display window.
Oh, that one? Are you sure? That one is really expensive. You know that, right?
Yes. I think I have enough.
He'll get paid really soon, so he'd like to reserve it.
The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper.
See? You don't have to worry about the teddy bear anymore.
Yeah. I'll get paid soon, too. I feel relieved now. He wouldn't keep coming to check every day if he hadn't done this now. He wouldn't spend his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed. I should have done it sooner.
Usually people do it right away when they want something. It's very rare for somebody not to think of that.
There's not a lot of things you can, like, put on holds like that, though. I mean, I guess...
There used to be.
I used to put shit on hold all the time as a kid.
I know at like Target here you can call and have some like certain like items be held, so, like if you want something up at the desk, but certain items like that most people would want to be held because they're a hot commodity, they're not allowed to hold. So it's like kind of redundant.
It used to be a big thing, like holding an item.
Yeah.
Mostly
So you
because
can get it later.
things weren't so fucking hard to get. This is just like pre-orders though. Like I have the Nintendo Switch 2 on pre-order. Everyone kill me now.
Yeah.
You can throw hammers at me. It's okay.
Throwing them.
Thanks.
Yeah. So very fun to tease him. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday. Anyway, thanks. Satoshi-kun held out his hand to touch my head. I want there... Okay. Listen to me now, Higurashi gods. Remake the anime. Okay? Actually remake it. Don't make it a secret sequel. Don't do that. Remake it. Cast me as Satoshi. Do it. This is all I want in my life. I want to voice a small anime boy. I don't... This is a weird desire. I just want to. Cast me.
My problem is that, like, the reason why the 06 anime is kind of as it is because Higurashi is so long, with so many, like, distinct little plot points that you can't leave out, otherwise you lose clarity.
Yeah.
So, any anime that is of this and would satisfy people would have to be really long, and some details would still have to be sacrificed. And I don't think there is any world where something that long gets funded. Like, the way that it worked in the 06 anime was that, like, each arc roughly had, like, I want to say it was, like, 4 or 5-ish episodes.
I feel like you could condense this story quite a bit, but there are a lot of little details and a lot of slow burn things that would absolutely be lost forever.
Yes.
And not have quite the impact that the visual novel is having.
100%. That's why I think Gosatsu works so well, because it hits the beats of the shit that people want to see, while also, because it's a sequel series, it's not beholden to what the VN is.
Yeah. Fair.
Gosatsu haters, you can appear on my blue sky and yell at me. I won't hear you through the swaths of furry porn.
Yeah.
You are all nothing to me. Bark like a dog. You are beneath me.
You are beneath me. Go away. Ah, was he going to stroke it? I felt my face reddening already.
Sorry.
If you haven't...
Sorry, it was the fact that it was out of nowhere. That we left the line for a moment.
Is he... Fucking god. Oh, fade to black. Even before he touched my head. Felt tingly, remembering the last time. Oh. I didn't care about the murder, or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything would be alright. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes, only to realize that the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. It looked as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Oh no.
Hello!
The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. I'd never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. He was probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away.
Good to see both of you, Hojo-san and Sonozaki-san. I'm sorry to bother you at a time like this.
This must be Kuraldo Oishi. the cop who's investigating the series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all of the cases. In other words, he's an enemy of the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force and likes to nose around the businesses in this area. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough as it is by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. I feel, okay, this is a small tangent. Since I have finished Breaking Bad, and I love Hank with my whole heart, I think I made this comparison last time we played this. Oishi reminds me so much of Hank in a sense. They feel like the same sort of character, where it's like, you don't want them to uncover the murder stuff, or you don't want them to discover the mystery, but you do at the same time, and you hate them, but you really love them at the same time. Like, Oishi is that same sort of character. I think Hank was, like, my second favorite character in that whole goddamn show. Gus being my favorite. I fucking loved Gus. Sorry, Breaking Bad moment. Hang on.
I've still not, like, watched anymore since we last talked about it, because I'm bad.
You're bad. Nah, it's great. I don't want to fuck with anything with the game right now, but I do have a Heisenberg redeem now. That makes me have glasses and a hat, and it plays the Breaking Bad theme. Just because of how often I talk about Breaking Bad, people will just redeem that when I start talking about it, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Naturally, as a family successor, he's not a welcome figure to me on Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react.
Oh, Oishi-san, thank you for working hard for our safety. Oh, the four of you want something from this toy store? A doll, maybe?
I know what they want, and it's not a toy. It's probably not me either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other three cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape.
Ojo-san, I'd like to talk to you about something. What for? Are you taking him to the station? You don't have to go with him, Satoshi-kun. Let's get out of here.
I pushed on his shoulder, but he stood there, looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No, he actually looked resigned. Then I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from the circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? Stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making anything up at all. She must have not told them that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time until the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. He probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Oishi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told them, saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea, but I didn't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I have to do something now. I have to say something. Otherwise Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Oishi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back.
It won't take much time. Come on, don't be scared.
It won't take much time. He just said it! He just said he wouldn't let him out if he caught him now. Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Oishi was clearly aware of it. Oishi smirked and held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. That hand shouldn't be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Oishi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything.
Do you want to know his alibi?
Oishi turned his face toward me, his hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Oishi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. It didn't really matter what I said.
That's right. I want to get to Hojo-san's alibi. We must not be doing our jobs. We can't seem to confirm his whereabouts at the time of the crime. It's shameful, but we decided to question him.
You don't have to ask him. I can confirm his alibi.
Oh, really? That'd help. You already told me that you were at the festival that night, and many people can confirm it. It'd be easier if we could confirm that Hojo-san was with you. But I don't think you mentioned him when I questioned you last time, did you? Are you going to change your statement now? Even though no one at the festival saw Hojo-san, are you going to tell me he was with you?
That's right. He was with me. Wouldn't that be enough?
I know you were there with your other friends that night. I saw it myself. Are you still saying that you were with him? Isn't that a little too hard to believe? Isn't it?
Oishi preached me. Preached me? I was mixing approached and creepy. Oishi approached me with a creepy smile. Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I didn't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish.
Are you saying that you forgot you were with him, but just now remembered you actually were? Mion Sonozaki-san.
I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself.
I could save Satoshi-kun if I revealed my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that.
Ah!
His pronouns are they, them!
His pronouns are they, them!
I'm not Mion Sonozaki. I didn't go to the Watanagashi festival in the first place. Huh? Satoshi-kun and I were talking in a restaurant in Okinomiya at that time. The name of the place is Angel Mort. You can confirm that with the owner if you want.
Oishi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused.
What are you saying? If you aren't Mion, then who are you?
I'm Shion Sonozaki, Mion's twin sister. Pleasure to meet you, Oishi-san.
Oishi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. He frowned.
I didn't know Mion Sonozaki-san had a twin sister. Are you trying to fool me?
Not at all. Why don't you check my family register or whatever? Should I call sis?
All the cops looked bewildered now.
Shion Sonozaki-san.
Yes, that's me. Is there anything wrong?
Can you come with us? If you're testifying that you were with Hojo-san that night, I'll have to talk to you too.
Sure thing. Please go easy on us.
The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. It shouldn't be too difficult to talk to Sis about this, then forge up an alibi together.
Satoshi-kun, tell them you were chatting with me at Angel Mort that night, no matter what they ask, okay? I'll confirm your alibi. Tell them you don't remember that night too clearly, or maybe you should just keep silent.
Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he'd apparently decided not to listen.
Can you hear me, Satoshi-kun? You can't mess this up, okay?
Okay. He must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him.
Are you upset?
Why?
'Cause I've been fooling you.
Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something. Finally understand why you were weird sometimes in class. I'd been thinking it was a bit strange.
Aren't you upset that I've been fooling you?
Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way. So this isn't the first time we've met, is it?
Well, yes, that's right.
Okay. How do you write your name?
With the characters for poetry and sound.
Shion. Ah,
Huh?
that's a beautiful name. Aw.
Could you please come with us to the station? We can get you instant coffee or tea if you'd like.
Kids in love.
Yeah.
Kids in love.
Yeah.
Crying.
They're just
Sobbing.
really sweet.
No. Ah! How long have we been going? Hang on. That was the end of the third chapter. Let's see.
Absentee present.
Okay, it's just shy of like 3 hours. So if we want to like end soon, since we were gonna do another soonish.
Yeah, let's read this
Needless.
tip and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, if you want to read this, since I've been doing a lot of narration.
Sure. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in. What I did was bleh, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Oishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. But that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit.
Wow. I'm dancing.
That's it for today, guys.
Yeah.
The truth of Shion has been revealed to Satoshi.
Yep. Okay, so he hasn't disappeared yet, but he also hasn't bought the
No.
bear yet. And we know he disappeared on Satoko's birthday, which is a few days
Yes.
after the Watanagashi festival.
Yes.
So shit's gonna get real when he buys that bear. And Satoko never got that bear. Sorry, I'm like talking my way through it to like see
No,
if
you're
I can
good. Go ahead.
find other details.
By the logic that we know, Satoshi
Mhm.
disappeared sometime between buying that bear and Satoko's birthday.
So I hope we find out what fucking happened to him, like concretely, but probably not. Maybe we'll find out. I'm trying to think if there's any other like thoughts I have. But there's definitely like I was saying earlier, there's definitely parallels between Keiichi and Satoshi. Like that's been clear since
Yes.
like the first chapter. But specifically with Keiichi killing Satoko's uncle. However, this time around, Satoshi killed the aunt. She's definitely dead, and he's still there. He didn't like get transported to another dimension like I like think that happened to Keiichi, or maybe he did, and this is Satoshi in this timeline still, and then there's a Satoshi in the new timeline, and this is a different. No, and it's probably not a different Satoshi, from a different timeline. It could be, but he seems to have memories of Shion, like acting weird. So, what are your thoughts, YouTube? I
Tell
almost
us your
said
thoughts,
chat.
YouTube.
Tell us your thoughts, YouTube. I must reiterate, because I did see a very nice long comment on the last VOD, and that made us very happy. every time somebody posts like theory crafting, because a lot of people in the audience have never experienced Higurashi in full like this. If you have, it was from the anime, which doesn't really cover everything, from what I know, and what we discussed. We love to see those big comments. Please send us a novel, send us an essay, do it. We love it. And I love to hear everybody's like thoughts and theories, what angles we're going at, the story could be going, where things could be going. I really love the slow drip feed this story gives you of like clues and hints and information. It's such a slow sort of like spout of information that's like, ah, yes. And I know it'll be answered soon. Or some things.
I also just realized I forgot to tell you what the title of this episode is called.
Yeah?
It's called Miyatashi-hen, meaning eye-opening chapter.
Like answers? Like answers arc?
Yeah, eye-opening chapter.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yes. Excellent. Fuck
The next
yeah.
one is Sumi Horoboshi, aka Atonement Chapter.
Oh, another thing I wanted to point out. I have been noticing a lot of apologizing, which is something that has been talked about since like the first chapter.
Yes.
Somebody apologizing over and over and over. That happened between Satoshi and Shion. I don't know if this was like intentional or this was supposed to be a reference to, you know, apologizing to Oyashiro-sama, which I believe is what that is supposed to be. Satoshi apologizes a lot. And he also, like, mentioned, I don't think Oyashiro-sama has forgiven me. What did he do that Oyashiro-sama would want him punished for? He didn't leave the town. Maybe it was because he was thinking about it.
It's about the thought crimes, yeah.
It's the thought crimes. Got it. Alright.
The belief is that if you even think about leaving Hinamizawa with any kind of actual desire to do so, that is enough of an offense.
That's fucked up.
Which it is. Here's a tip for everyone in the audience. Thought crimes aren't real.
Thought crimes. No.
If you are having a thought about something, even if like it's bad, quote unquote,
Intrusive thoughts.
yeah, if you don't act on it, you've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, everybody, like, this is somewhat, I guess, a pet peeve of mine, is when people attribute, like, intrusive thoughts to being, neurodivergent. Intrusive thoughts happen to literally everyone. And the thing that separates, like, people, like, I guess good people from bad people, is when you act on those intrusive thoughts that are, you know, bad. It happens to everybody. It's normal. Don't worry about it. If you have a weird intrusive thought, like, what if I just killed someone right now? Everybody has that. Maybe not that. No, everybody has that.
I think most people do.
I think most people do.
Had thoughts like that.
What if I just
Like-
a more appropriate, like, intrusive thought, cooking dinner and you heat up the stove and you have the intrusive thought, what if I just slapped my hand on the stove right now? What if I just did that? And then you're like, well, I shouldn't do that. I will get burned. That's like,
I've learned to cope with this a lot because my intrusive thoughts are often like
either
very
intense,
violent or very cruel.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that. Same here.
Oftentimes, when I'm like hanging out with my partners, I will have thoughts like, I could just ruin this relationship right now. I could say horrible shit to them that I don't even necessarily believe, and it would cause this to happen. And I could do that. I have that power in my hand right now to say horrible things to this person. I could call them slurs. But like, I don't want to do that. That's not something I want to do. And
Mhm.
me having that intrusive thought does not make me a bad person.
No! Exactly. Exactly. Thought crimes aren't real. Fuck yeah. This has been PSA, the more you know. TED Talk.
Especially if you have, like, I don't know what the specific term for it is, but, like, moralistic OCD. I
Mhm.
promise you're good.
Yeah,
Take it from your big Uncle Cal. You're good.
your big Uncle Cal. Yippee. Okay, I'm gonna be posting this on Monday. So hello in the future, Monday. We're gonna record again, very soon because I'm gonna be out of town next time we would normally record this. But I'm also gonna queue that up next Monday. So, see you next Monday. Yippee.